a reminder for those of you that are here in the area, we're going to be back here Labor Day weekend, and it is a little bit of a different schedule for the Denso Sparkplugs U.S. Nationals this year. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've made some adjustments just simply because, well, everybody in the world has been making adjustments for various things, and the NHRA is no different. But one thing that's going to happen, or more than one thing that's going to happen, is that we have got some extra racing that's going to take place here. The JEGS All-Stars, which is a premier competition for our sportsman racers that run literally from coast to coast, all 7 NHRA divisions put together a team. It takes a year to qualify, to get invited to the All-Stars to represent your division. They bring a representative from each of the categories, and they race them off in a little race within a race for JEGS All-Star Champion. And I know I'm from Division 7 out on the West Coast, and I know how important it is to the racers. When we start our season in February, because it doesn't snow where I live, so we usually start early, the main focus is JEGS points. Once the JEGS teams are locked down, which usually happens around May, then people start looking forward to thinking about World Championship points at the end of the year. But it is a huge deal to be invited. The last few years, it has not been contested here, but it's going to be this year. Just because of, again, all of the things that have happened with the schedule have made us all make adjustments. So instead of the All-Stars being in Chicago, which has been their home for the last few seasons, they are going to come here. We are also going to see the Mickey Thompson Pro Bike Battle that over the last few years has been run out in California, Sears Point Raceway in Sonoma. Over the adjustments that are being made all around the world, well, we're not going to be racing in Sonoma this year. The Pro Bike Battle will be right here. They'll be contested at the U.S. Nationals, but it'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday event this year. We also are going to run those final rounds that did not get run the last time we were here in Indy. So Saturday night, we're going to be giving out trophies from the Lucas Oil Nationals that was contested a couple of weeks ago and got rained out. Anyway, we may not have quite as many days this year at the U.S. Nationals, but the point I'm making is we're going to have plenty of action. If you haven't got your tickets yet, you might want to grab them. Just throwing it out there. Greg Anderson, Matt Hartford, the first pair out. Anderson and his Summit Racing Chevrolet, one of the KB teams, and Matt Hartford, who gets his horsepower from there. Now, it's interesting. The KB guys, like the Elite Performance team, there's a couple of different levels of service. If you want to go pro stock racing, you can just call and say, okay, here's my check. I've got a helmet. Tell me when to be there, and they'll take care of everything. Or you can do it like Matt does. He's got his own truck and trailer. He's got his own race car. He's got his own crew chief. All he needs is the horsepower. And then Eddie Garnacci and the team take it from there. Hartford, out of Arizona. Greg Anderson, originally from Minnesota, now makes his home in Mooresville, North Carolina. By the way, did you hear that they had an earthquake in Charlotte today? I'm not making that up. Greg's probably glad he's here. Both drivers spectacular on the Christmas tree. Better on the racetrack is Greg Anderson, 6.649 at 207. 6.691 for Matt at 207. Matt Hartford was 0.16 reaction time. Greg Anderson beat him off the line with an 0.10. But then Anderson's Summit Chevy was a little bit better. Headed down the racetrack, ends up with a margin of victory almost 0.05 of a second, 6.649 for Greg as he advances into the semis. Now it's Coughlin and Laughlin. If you were an announcer, there are a few things that every time they come up just make you roll your eyes. One of them is Coughlin Laughlin. One of them is Milliken McMillan. And now that Corey's back, we can throw McClanahan in there too. But the number 3 and number 6 qualifiers out here, both with elite engines under the hood. Jake Coughlin, who is leading the points by virtue of the fact that he just seems to go to the final round every week. Won Pomona. Was runner-up last time we were here. And Alex Laughlin, the Texas-based race car driver, and I don't care what kind of car it is. If it goes fast and it goes straight, Alex will drive it. And if it goes fast and it's supposed to not go straight, give Alex a call. He'll probably take a crack at that too. He's become a master at marketing and rotating cast of sponsors that he's had on that car over the course of the last few years. Folks at Haviland taking the primary signage this week. Jag Coughlin's oh-so-familiar yellow and black. Jegs.com Chevrolet. Looking on the Ray Skillman side of the racetrack. He had lane choice. He said, I think I'll stick with the left. To thou the reaction difference. To Hun the performance difference. 6.649, 206 for Coughlin. 6.665, 206 for Laughlin. They left 022 to 024. That's a coin flip. But Jaggy, a little bit better down the racetrack, 6.649. And as a matter of fact, that is an identical tie with what Greg Anderson ran at 6.649. Lane choice in that pair will be determined by top speed. You like good, tight pro stock racing? I think we got it. Here comes the champ, Erica Enders, in her bright red Melling Chevrolet. And she is taking on one of the young lions, Troy Coughlin Jr., in his bright red Ford with the Jegs logos on the side. So Jaggy has advanced. He and TJ are on opposite sides of the ladder. They would love to have an all Jegs final round. Erica thinks that's the dumbest idea in the history of the world. Maybe the second dumbest. Erica would hate an all Summit final round even more than she'd hate that, but you get the idea. Erica's got a really good race car, though. I mean, really, really good. 61 in the first round. TJ ran a 63 in the first round. So Erica with the lane choice over on the Skillman side. We'll be watching closely to see who gets off the finish line first. If you want to get off the finish line first against Erica, you better bring your A-plus game. There's a reason there's a number 1 on the side of that car. Actually, there's a lot of reasons there's a number 1, but one of the big reasons is because of Erica's left foot. Ooh, a little maybe burn down. Well, for a moment anyway. Oh, Erica goes red. Wow. 004 on the wrong side of the tree, and Troy Coughlin at 6.653 and 205 is going to the semis. Erica goes 6.658 at 207 miles an hour. She was 004 red. Troy was 004 green. Wow. Erica gives it away on the starting line. She does not make that mistake very often. But TJ is going to the semis. Now, he has won plenty of races in plenty of different race cars. But he is still very, very new to pro stock. And he is knocking down rounds here today. 665 beats 665. Erica 4th red. And now it's Jason Line and Chris McGahey. I told you I would find out the story about that dollar bill on Chris McGahey's door. And he said it's been there for a while. I can't believe I hadn't noticed it before. He and Jason raced a few years ago in qualifying, made a side bet, and he made Jason sign it and taped it to the door. I guarantee you when they were back in the staging lanes here earlier, he pointed that out to Jason. You remember this, right? Remember this dollar bill you gave me? You remember? Remember? I remember. Now, Jason's had the best car this weekend. And that's not an opinion. He had low ET of both qualifying sessions. He had low ET in the first round. And Chris McGahey knows that as much as anybody. Chris McGahey got 100th with the clutch foot. Is 100 going to be enough? No. 6.632 at 2:08:01, and Jason again has low ET of the meet, or low ET of the round. McGahey goes 6.654 at 2:07. Grabbed one with the clutch, and that makes the margin of victory 11 thousandths of a second. So 6.632 for Jason Line. And he will come back and run Troy Jr. in the semifinals. So it'll be a Jegs versus Summit match on both sides. TJ gets Jason. Greg Anderson gets Jaggy. And as you may recall, Jason Line and Jeg Coughlin seem to have like a standing date in the final round in Pro Stock. And both of them are still alive here. TJ looking to go to his first Pro Stock final. For either Jason, Greg, or Jeg, it would not be their first Pro Stock final. I think they've been to 3 apiece. Maybe it was 103 apiece. They've been to a few of them. Pro Stock motorcycle already rolling up to the ready line, flying Ryan Ayler. Undefeated on the season. Ryan is hoping I'll still be saying that at the end of the day. And then at the end of next week and at the end of the week after that. Chris Bostic on the Suzuki Extended Protection bike over here on the right side. Going to try to end that streak as they are told to fire him up. For those of you that may be wondering, and I took a peek at my email earlier, I did get a question about this. There is a new 4-valve cylinder head that has been approved for use in the Suzuki camps. As of now, as of this printing, nobody's put one on the racetrack. They are in development. And it's not just a matter of, okay, well, give me the motor, we're going to change the head on it. I mean, it's a completely different combination. But that's coming, probably before the end of the year. Bostic out of Tennessee, riding that Stouffer Underdahl Suzuki over here on the right side, and flying Ryan Ayler. You have to respect Ryan Ayler if you are a fan of the do-it-yourselfer. They are doing their own engine development. They do their own tuning. They make their own calls. They're not renting horsepower. They're not hiring advisors. They decided if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. The guy who's in the HVAC business up in Chicagoland, showing everybody that when he puts his mind to it, he can run with and oftentimes in front of the best in the business. He did last time we were here. Uh-oh. Ryan Ayler was dead late. I mean dead late. And I mean 693, finished second to a 7 flat. Chris Bostic goes 7:009 and wins. Ryan Ayler goes 693 and wasn't even close. Oh, man. Ryan Ayler, I don't know if he flinched or if he blinked or what happened up there, but a 1:48 reaction time, and the point leader just became a spectator, and Chris Bostic advances. Just like we figured it out. Here come the Harleys. Andrew Hines and Angel Sampé. Drew on the left side. Angel on the right side. In the last run, Andrew was a little quicker than she was. Angel, who just had a birthday over here. Between these two, they've got 9 championships and close to 100 wins. And Angel is very driven to get out there and, well, she still just looks over and sees the Harleys for all those years and all that rivalry. They both get away on the green. Angel's got a couple hundred in the bank. She's got more than that on the track. 6.908, 195. And she daylighted Andrew. He goes 699 at 194. Reaction times, neither one of them is going to get in the Hall of Fame, but Angel left first by about 200ths. And then she had enough social distance at the finish line that she wouldn't get in trouble with anybody. 6.908 at 195, out in front by a tenth. as she goes to the semis, where she's going to race the winner of this matchup. Scotty, the Strutmaster bike. Matt, the Denso bike. These two motorcycles know each other very well. They ride in the same trailer. They talk going up and down the road. They plot against the Suzukis and the Harleys, trying to figure out a way to take over the world when nobody's looking. They really do. And Scotty Polachek lining up against the guy that he rents the bike from. Now, Matt is every inch the racer, but he's also every inch the businessman. He knows that in order to stay in business, he's got to take care of his customers. So he knows that Scotty has got himself a good motorcycle over there. We know that Angel's going to race whoever can make the top of a scoreboard twinkle. Oh, and Matt was dead late. Scotty's way over by the wall. Is he going to be able to hang on down there? Yes, 696 to a 696. Scotty Polachek was 015. A little smoke coming out of that bike at the top end. Matt Smith was 143. Oh, man. Like Ryan Ayler, it's one of those, what happened? That just never happens. So either Scotty Polachek or Angel is going to the final round. Promise you. All right, what wackiness is going to happen next? Eddie Krawick, left. Hector Jr., right. Eddie Krawick was quicker in the previous run. But from a comparison standpoint, Hector Rana made a better run because he stepped up from qualifying. So they know now on the Lucas Oil side of the racetrack what they were doing yesterday wasn't right. And they know coming in this morning that they were directionally correct, as Jason likes to say. What they've got to figure out now is if they've got enough direction left to figure out a way in front of Eddie Krawick, or we'll see if somebody has a reaction time that starts with a 9. I mean, that's about the only thing that had happened yet. Krawick on the left side, Arana on the right. Remember the old days of the Hectors and the Harleys? Man, I love rivalries. Love rivalries in the NHRA. Hector's ready. So's Ed. Red light start for Junior. He goes 031 too soon. Eddie goes 687. Eddie goes 198. Eddie goes to the semis where he will run Chris Bostic, who is having one of those days. I mean, I'm not saying he's having a Gianna Salinas day, but he's definitely having a pretty good one so far. 6.878 for the win. 198. Hector goes 697 at 194. But that baby was over as soon as that light flashed red. And 3 of the 4 races in that round were decided right here on the starting line. 2 massive hole shots and 1 red light. So our final 4, everybody get out your ladders, right? Like we do at the basketball tournament. Your final 4, Scotty Polachek against Angel and Eddie Krawick against Chris Bostic. Who had that? Is that the same person that had earthquake in Charlotte, North Carolina on the next wacky thing to happen here in 2020? That happened. I'm not making that up. Google it. Pro Mods at the ready line. All righty, quick little shuffle out there on the racetrack. Pro Mod at the ready line. Adjustment in the run order again, just because of what happened earlier. We've got Pro Mod at the ready line. We've got Mountain Motor Pro Stock. We got Nitro Harley behind that. We've got alcohol cars coming in behind that. And then we've got the semis and all of our Lucas Oil brackets for the Division 3 event here this weekend. So Lucas Oil competitors, if you haven't got them out, warmed up, and ready to go yet, you need to do that right now because we're going to be calling you here pretty quickly. We have reached the red and white Pro Mod portion of the program here as Jonathan Gray and Khaled Al-Belushi gets set to go. Gray still lives in Artesia, New Mexico. That's where his family made their fame and fortune, literally. And he is the last one, to my knowledge, that still lives out there. He does a little farming, has a couple of side businesses, the CPM Aviation on the side. That is a car that's owned by Ricky Smith, and he still likes to fly in and drive these things every once in a while. You know, interestingly enough, I talked to his brother Shane Gray a couple of weeks ago. Shane, who has been out NASCAR racing with his two sons, and they both have been doing a very nice job as they start climbing the ladder over there on the other side of the fence. I said, "You ever think about coming back?" And he said, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind coming out and driving a mountain motor car or something like that." And I said, "Well, when?" He said, I'm not going to put one together." He said, "I just want to fly in and drive it." So apparently what he's looking for is a Jonathan Gray deal. The nitrous car getting the big purge on the left side, while Belushi, Strut Masters and Bahrain 1, that is a Pro Charger car. And I can't help but think anybody that ever had nitrous on a car that worked at a car wash that had to like shine a bunch of wheels and clean up a bunch of white walls and do all that for extra tips so you could fill your nitrous bottle. Every time you watch somebody do one of those 30-second purges, I just want to run down there with a balloon and catch it. I had nitrous on a street car in 1980. Everybody said I was a cheater. I said, "Yeah, not fast." Meanwhile, Jonathan on the left side, Belushi on the right side. They're in, they're set, they're off. Jonathan Gray with 600s. He's 0.26 on the reaction timer down to the stripe. That's enough. 583, 249 miles an hour. Belushi goes 579 at 250 miles an hour. Starting line math, 0.26 to 0.89. That's about 6. Racetrack math, 0.79 or 579 to 583. That's about 4. Finish line math, 200s and change. Jonathan Gray making it happen, and he goes to the semis. And now it's Bo Butner and Clint Satterfield. Well, we got out of the all red and white cars. Now we got a red and white versus the blue. Bo is the team car. To Jonathan Gray, who just outran a Pro Charger car. Clint Satterfield is also a Pro Charger car. But Satterfield, remember we talked about it earlier, he only qualified in the number 15 spot, but he qualified at 204 miles an hour. Now in the opening round, they got that baby to run all the way down to the stripe. And she's a little quicker. The Yearwood car, also from Albuquerque. Now, I realize we're a long way from there, but what would be the odds that we could come to Indy on the E3 Pro Modified Trail and have two guys from New Mexico racing the final? I know we're a long way from there, but I'm just saying. I like looking ahead. I like planning ahead. It's time to check in for your flight tomorrow. You know, stuff like that. I like planning ahead. Another big old nitrous purge going on over there for Bo Butner. And Clint Satterfield just patiently letting that Pro Charge force-fed car sit there and lump along. Still, nobody has lit the pre-stage bulb. They are both kind of quarter-inching their way forward. There we go. Satterfield finally lights the top. Bo does the same. Satterfield dives right in. Bo right with him. Bo got 0.03 of a second. Nitrous versus ProCharger, and check it out, 584, 248 miles an hour for the win for Bo. A 597 at 202 for Clint Satterfield. And Satterfield hurt that thing. There is no doubt about it. Clint Satterfield was out in front at the 8th mile by a pretty fair margin. And then his quit running before he got to the finish line stripe, and Bo Butner advances at 5.848. And there is at least the potential. Our all-Albuquerque final just went out the door, but there's at least a potential for Ricky Smith to race himself in the final round and not be driving either car. Mike Janis up next in his pieced together. Yeah, we got a new fender. We made it out of paper mache. What are you worried about? No problemo. And Jim Whiteley. Whiteley, who's in the oil field service business. That's what J&A Services is. J&A, of course, Jim and Annie. His wife races as well and does it in the alcohol funny car ranks. I am told, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I am told that his son is going to be back on a pro stock motorcycle at some point. I don't mean like tomorrow but at some point it's going to happen. He's got his eyes on the future. Everybody in the family down there races. Trust me, everybody. So we got blower car against blower car here. Brad Anderson, power combination over here on the right side. Mike Janis, I mentioned earlier, doing his own engines. Block, cylinder head, the whole deal. A 4900 bore. All in Navi Performance, left. J&A Services, right. Winner gets Jonathan Gray. Oh, Jim! Well, unless they blow both fenders off of that thing, Mike Janis is going to win this one. 597, 240 miles an hour. And Mike Janis takes it to the house. 5.979. Making it happen here. The reaction time for Jim started with a 3. Oh. I'm not sure what's going on down there between a couple of the Nitro drivers and a couple of the Pro Stock motorcycle drivers. Man, craziness. Here comes the champ, Stevie Fast Jackson. Over on the left side. Makes his home in Georgia, where he has got a very nice facility where he keeps his fleet of race cars running, and is also available for hire if you need a tuner or a driver or just some live entertainment. He's also very popular with the stuff that he does on his YouTube channel. Talking racing and smack, not necessarily in that order. He definitely is not afraid to talk the talk, and he's pretty good at walking the walk as well. Chris Thorne, that Proline turbo car out of Florida. You better be in front, Steve, at 1,000 feet. If at 1,000 feet you're dead even, you're done. Because Chris Thorne's car runs huge speed. If you're sitting down there at 300 feet, watch when they pass that block how far Steve Jackson's going to be out in front. And then we'll see if he can hold on. Because that's the way it should play out. The blower cars quicker off the starting line. The turbo cars faster down the back half of the track. And that's the beauty of Pro Mod. They're all a little bit different. Well, at least these two are. Turbo car needs to spool up. Steve Jackson wants him to do that first. They're about to get a little encouragement from our starter, Brad Hardy, down there. There's no rule about who stages first. As a general rule, the turbo guys like to go last. As a general rule, Steve Jackson's not going to let him, it doesn't look like. They said there's no rule that says somebody has to go first, but you can be disqualified for not obeying the starter's instruction. Nobody's making a move yet. Chris Thorne would have to rev that thing up. You'll hear the turbo car start building boost when he's ready to go. You won't hear anything from Steve's car. He just rolls in. And Steve does not look like he's inclined to roll in. What do you think, Lucas Oil Raceway? Pick a side. You like turbo cars, you like blower cars, or you want them both to be disqualified, because that's a legitimate possibility here. We've got a schedule to keep. We got things to do. You can sit there until you run out of gas, but we ain't got that kind of time. That's going to be the last warning given, I do believe. And nobody is moving. Chris Thorne in the right, Stevie Fast in the left. They literally could both be disqualified if somebody doesn't stage. Stevie goes in. Thorne bumps in. Both drivers great on the tree. Who's going to be better on the track? 5.806, 255, Chris Thorne. And I don't know about you guys, I'm looking forward to the next time they race, because Steve Jackson will pull up and shut the car off before he stages. 585, 243 miles an hour. Look at the reaction time. Neither driver got rattled on the starting line. 017 for Steve, 020 for Chris. 580 beats 585, and Chris Thorne advances. And I'm telling you, mark that down in your memory banks. The next time those two race, there is no way Stevie Fast is going to stage first. No way. So Chris is going to come back a little bit later on, and he'll race Bo Butner. Jonathan Gray takes on Mike Janis. All right, listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Lucas Oil competitors, all of you, if you're still in competition, I need you to the staging lanes, please. Super Street, Super Gas, Super Comp, Stock, Super Stock, Comp, Top Dragster, Top Sports. Come on down. If you're still in competition, I need you all to the staging lanes, please. It is Mountain Motor Pro Stock rolling up here now. First time we've seen them this year. They were supposed to make their debut earlier in the season, but then there was a lot of things that were supposed to happen earlier in the season. These things are a blast. They're 800 plus cubic inches. They're big old massive torque monsters. If an NHRA Pro Stock car is a finesse machine, these things are just flat brutal. It is an 8-car field, and you had to run 665 to get in. But the top half of the field is all in the 630s or better. 220 plus miles an hour. There are no power adders here. Just 800 plus cubic inches, and come and get you some. Elijah Morton on the left side. John Maltacavo on the right side. The number one on the side of John's car. He's the champ. And it's a Ford versus Chevy matchup here. A little more diversity in the types of cars that we see here on the Mountain Motor side of the fence. And it's great having them over here in NHRA, even if it is just on kind of an exhibition series. 8-car field. Elijah Morton left side out of North Carolina. That's a Mustang. Maltacavo, the paving contractor out of New York. That's the Camaro. As they bump their way in. John's ready. Elijah is ready. Both drivers off on the green. Good solid race down to the 8th mile. Finish line. 637, 220 miles an hour for Elijah Morton. Maltacavo moved first, and I'm not sure if something happened to his car, but it definitely slowed down at the top end. He qualified over 220 miles an hour, ran 219 there, and Elijah Morton will take it. 6.373. One of the other fun things about these Mountain Motor cars, most of the places where you can see these things race in and around the country, they run 8th mile. But when they come here to NHRA, you're driving them to the scoreboards, baby. Brad Waddle in the left side, Johnny Pluchino in the right side. The Innovators West out of Kansas, that would be Brad Waddle. Oakdale, New York is where Pluchino calls home. He's got Strutmasters logos on the side of that orange, and I mean crazy orange Mustang. Both of these cars over 800 cubic inches. That's why they call them mountain motor. In qualifying, Waddle was number 6. Lucio was number 3. He was one of the cool kids down in the 620s. Nobody was better than J.R. Carr, and he is waiting for his turn back here in the lanes. Interestingly enough, at least I think it's interesting, and again, since I've got the microphone, I get to make the rules. The NHRA Pro Stockers seem to like that Ray Skillman side of the racetrack. Johnny Pluchino is lined up over here on the Dodge SRT side. Whoa, hang on. No drafting in NHRA. 635, 221 miles an hour for Johnny Pluchino. He's 029 on the tree, and he got there first. You're not going to see anything come up over there on the Ray Skillman board because Brad Waddle swapped lanes. I don't know how many of you guys are NASCAR fans, but Tony Stewart is actually here this weekend, really. And if he'd have seen that, he'd have been going, whoa. That's the way you slide back in line. That was like a Talladega move. A guy goes by you dive right in behind him and catch the draft. Scared the heck out of me. Johnny didn't care. He couldn't see him. But Johnny will get the win at 635, 221. Brad's run will go down as a centerline DQ. And, oh, by the way, Brad, a tip of the cap for not doinking anything down there. I mean, that thing's going about 180 miles an hour at that part of the racetrack, and he slid right over there in between those little orange blocks and didn't touch one of them. The orange blocks, thank you. The cleanup crew, thanks you. The next 2 Pro Stockers in line, thank you. And I thank you. Send me 2 more. Tom Thorpe Transport. That's the big T on the side of John DeFlorian's machine down there. John Cossey Power, Jerry Haas Chassis. It better be. If John DeFlorian wasn't driving a Jerry Haas car, he'd get fired. Then he'd get beat up. He'd get thrown in a dumpster. Well, the reason is he's the shop foreman at Jerry Haas's shop, if you get my drift. DeFlorian qualified in the number 2 position, and he has picked the Ray Skillman side of the racetrack. That's another one of the fun things when you watch these mountain motor machines. Because they make so much torque, when they make the gear changes, they have a tendency to pick up the left front tire definitely, and sometimes the both front tires. And that's why you'll see them kind of darting around out there at 300 or 400 feet. The driver's really got to stay on top of it to make sure that thing stays where it's supposed to be. DeFlorian's got Dwayne Rice over here on the right side, the Ohio-based DR Excavating machine. Wheelie bar adjustment key on these cars, as it is with the NHRA Pro Stock car. That's an interesting little tidbit for those of you that may be curious. The importance of a wheelie bar height on a Pro Stock car is to make sure the car goes straight. You want to do a little bit of weight transfer, and you'll change that sometimes depending on track conditions, but the bars in the back are staggered because the torque of the car will drive to the left or the right. If you see a wheelie bar adjustment on a nitro car, they're setting how hard it hits the tire. It has nothing to do with wheelies. Really? They're 1 thou apart in reaction time. That's getting pretty close to the center line down there, and that's lighting the wind light down there. John DeFlorian, 637, 220 miles an hour, 646 for Dwayne Rice. That's right where he has been all weekend throughout qualifying, 216 miles an hour, just not quite enough. But DeFlorian at 6.379 will advance to the Final Four. Hey, listen up in the pitch. Attention, top dragster, top sportsman, comp eliminator. Top dragster, top sportsman, comp eliminator. you will run your semis after the semis of the Mellow Yellow Series. Again, we're just making adjustments as we go to try to stay on schedule for the television, so plan accordingly. The rest of the sportsmen are going to run right behind Nitro Harley, which is coming up right behind this last pair of mountain motor cars. But Oakley Motorsports, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, and Competition Eliminator, you will run after the semis for the Mellow Yellow Series. Ford versus Chevrolet, Mike Bell versus J.R. Carr. Roy Hill over on the left side of the racetrack when the announcement was made last year that the mountain motor cars would be out here running in a limited series. Roy and Mike Bell said, we got to get us one or two of those. And they did. They qualified in the number 8 spot. J.R. Carr, he was blistering fast yesterday. We got a guy in the left lane from North Carolina. We got a guy in the right lane from Washington State. They decided to meet in the middle and came up with Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis. That's close enough for me. Red light for Mike Bell. Gave it up on a starting line with an 0.24 early lead. JR goes 654, 197. He did not make a full pull down there. 671 at 215 for Mike. But I think Mike knew from a performance standpoint he needed to go up there and take a crack. His crack came up red. So J.R. Carr goes 6.542. He'll come back and he'll race Elijah Morton. On that side of the ladder, it'll be John DeFlorian, John Puccino on the other side of the ladder. That's our final four. And now we've got Nitro Harleys. A 7-bike field. And I have to apologize. I said yesterday I was going to go down and find out what exactly the issue was with Jay Turner, who was unable to come up and make a qualifying run, and I just simply never got a chance to go down and do that. But the 7 bikes that we have got here are some pretty serious players, including the Red Apple, also known as the Bad Apple, but it used to be the Green Apple, also known as the Bad Apple. And if you're a regular here at Lucas Raceway, then you're very familiar with the whole Red Apple, Green Apple concept. Ryan Perry rolling in over here on the right side on his Ohio-based scooter, and Tracy Kyle out of Asheville, North Carolina, home of the Asheville Tourists. Did you know that? Minor league baseball club. I just know that because I've watched Bull Durham like 152 times. Tracy Kyle qualified number 4. Ryan Perry qualified number 5. They were a hundo apart. They both made 2 good, clean runs down the racetrack in qualifying. And the Nitro Harleys, hey, just like the rest of the NHRA pros, only get 2 shots at it. Watching Hector Arana Jr. down here hanging out with the Nitro Shark guys. Maybe he's figured out that's how to stop the Screaming Eagle team. They're off on the green. Look at the front end in the air for both of them. What a side-by-side run to the stripe. 6:51, 219 miles an hour for the win for Ryan. 6:61 at 207 miles an hour for Tracy Kyle. Oh, great side-by-side run. Tracy was a tick better when it came time to rock the wrist back on the throttle. Both of them had the front end up to the 8th mile plus, and Ryan Peary gets the win at 6.515. That's even quicker than he qualified, 219 miles an hour, and that's even faster than he qualified. So Ryan Peary's going to come back and see if he can stop Ty Tharp in the semifinals, and the reason I can see into the future is because Ty Tharp has a solo run. Tyler Wilson left and Ricky House. And again, look down here. Blue leather pants, Lucas Oil shirt. That's Hector Arana Jr. Over here hanging with Ricky House. These things are incredibly like an injected nitro car that runs in the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series. There are no force-fed bikes on the property here this weekend. There's a couple of guys that have kind of toyed around with small superchargers. but there aren't any of them here this weekend. Tyler Wilson on the left side, the concrete guy out of North Carolina. That's a Bulldog bike. And Ricky House for Haviland HD down in Humble, Texas. But these things operate on low end grunt, centrifugal clutch. Just lay the throttle back and hang on for dear life. And I do mean dear life. Both of them pushing a little bit towards the right. Both of them leaning hard. Tyler has to close the throttle off, and Ricky House takes it there to the house. Get it? 6.607, 206 miles an hour. Tyler Wilson goes 807 at 122, and both of them had the front end up. You can see them kind of pushing off to the right. They're leaning. You do not finesse a Nitro Harley. Believe me on this. You throw that thing around with all you got. Now it's Randall Andrus in the left side. Mitch Brown in the right. When last we visited Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, Randall Andrus left with the trophy. He's based down in Louisiana, where his business is getting things out to the offshore rigs. I think he does it with a big slingshot, but I'm not 100% sure. And Mitch Brown out of Clearwater, Kansas. Lined up over here on the right side. Now, Mitch struggled a little bit in qualifying. He really never made a clean run. As a matter of fact, that's the third time Mitch's bike did that. But wait. Okay, never mind. 646, 213 miles an hour. Did you see how Andrus was fighting that thing down there? Oh, man. I don't want no part of that. I would rather arm wrestle Matt Hagan than get on one of those. 646, 213 miles an hour for Andrus. Mitch Brown goes 10:03 at 110, but you saw that thing just absolutely blew the tire off of it. Did the same thing in qualifying, but had Randall got over there to the center line, done something, that would have been a disqualification. You could see that he was fighting it, but you could also see that he didn't want to give it up. And so he ends up getting the win at 6.467, which will be lane choice in the next round, as if that means anything. There's one thing I've learned in all these years of announcing racing, watching racing, talking to racers, and lane choice is the most important thing in the world if you have it. If you don't, it's no big deal. Who cares? Lane choice, What about lane? Oh, lane choice is great. Lane, you got to have lane choice. One lane's great. The other lane, might as well be a wash on. You lost lane choice. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. They're both good. It's all good. I can tell you this, from what we've seen by side-by-side races today, in every category across the board, from Nitro to Pro Stock to Top Fuel Harley, there ain't no bad lane here at Lucas Oil Raceway. If you lose, don't blame my racetrack. It's not my racetrack, but I'm trying to get to you. Ty Tharp, the Samson exhaust, the Spevco, the #1 qualifier. I didn't think those things would go that straight. 6.522, and he shut it off early. Only 195 miles an hour. Ty Tharp, #1 qualifier. And oh, by the way, the reigning champion. And he gets the win. He'll come back and run Ryan in the next round. Okay, here's where we're at right now. Warren Evans is going to slide in here and give me a break. We're going to go through some of these Lucas cars. But first, before we even get to Lucas cars, we're going to give away a trophy. You want to give away a trophy? Let's give away a trophy. We're going to get in the Wayback Machine, and we're going to go way back. A couple of weeks. Okay, we're way back. Take over.
All right, Alan Reinhart. As you said a couple weeks ago, we're in the midst of a points race here at Lucas Oil Raceway. And they got down to the final round just like everybody else did until the skies opened up and ended the weekend. So Austin Toole and Bill McCarty were invited back to finish up their race. Right now, this is their one and only time hit at the track. They're going to make a time run, then we'll see them a little bit later. And the winner does claim a trophy. But right now, it's Austin out of West Terre Haute, Indiana, in his Monte Carlo, and Bill McCarty from Bloomington, Indiana. Now, if you're from this part of the world and you follow bracket racing and drag racing around the area, Those two names are pretty familiar to you because both of them heavy hitters in the foot brake category. Tool, 681 at 99 miles an hour. He'll have it dialed in. Bill McCarty leaves a little bit red. And an 806 at 83. They were racing to the 8th mile, the 660 mark. Now, everything else you're going to see until they come back up, we'll go to the quarter mile. As we roll right into semifinal action here in Top Alcohol Dragster. A fuel car, A fuel here in the category, making up our final four. Fairly well matched all the way around. Two of the four roll out of the Randy Meyer Racing truck over there. And then we're going to start it out with Julie Natas. Natas currently makes her home in Southern California. And she is chasing her dream here in the United States. She is a second-generation racer. Her dad, Thomas, European Top Fuel champion himself. Julie comes over here to the States and climbs in one of the best rides in the country. Randy Meyer Racing fielded A Fuel Dragster for Meyer Truck Center, VP Fuels, OTQ, Aeromotive, and a whole list of great sponsors. Julie last year, her best season to date as she was the champion in the North Central region. Her car comes to life. On the other side, Dwayne Shields. Boulder City, Nevada, his home. Does most of his racing east of the Mississippi in the Muscle Milk car. Both of these cars get a little help from NGK and the good folks from NGK out here this weekend. Happy to have them all on board and support. So for Julie, as most Randy Meyer cars do, a very short burnout, just get them a little bit hot and sticky. She'll get some guidance back into those hot, sticky tracks. Dwayne Shields, he'll be hustling his way back as well. His first year, partnered up with Muscle Milk. Julie, number 4 in the point standings last year in the national chase. Dwayne Shields wound up number 5. He has, in the past, carried the big number 1, a former national champion. Over there, he's had plenty of success with his operation. Dana Hopewell turning the wrenches over there. And Randy Meyer and his crew chiefs in training helping Miss Julie get herself all lined out. Both of these cars fully capable of running into the 520s. Winner goes to the final. Dwayne Shields goes red. Turned it red by a bunch. Thought he needed some advantage. Julie, she left before the green light came on as well, but Dwayne red lighted by a whole bunch more. Julie, 529 at 267. She'll move into the final. So the potential exists for an all Randy Meyer Racing final coming up. Dwayne, 537 at 277 down there at the finish line. Much more speed for Dwayne. Julie, when she qualified, she was only less than a half a mile an hour below the national speed record. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. That was Rachel Meyer. I'll get there. In the meantime, Julie Natas goes on to the final. So who does she get to face in the final round? Will it be teammate Rachel Meyer? Left side of the track this time around for one of the Meyer sisters, Rachel and Megan. Megan, the national champ, but this weekend it's Rachel at the controls of the NGK Power Under Control machine. Rachel will roll up next to a car she saw last weekend, 2 weekends ago at Topeka. But different body panels, different driver this time around, as Mike Booker rolls out of the water box with his Hope Over Heroin machine. That is Robin and Tony Samsel's A-Fuel dragster over here on the right. Mike getting the opportunity to campaign the car this weekend. He finds the reverser. He starts to slowly back up to the starting line. Mike, in the opening round, went 5:32 at 270 to just eke out a victory over Jackie Frick, who was right there with a 5:33. Rachel Meyer took out the supercharged car of David Jordan in the last stanza. So will it be Rachel and Julie or Mike and Julie? We'll find out here in just a minute. Crew chiefs getting their final adjustments made. They'll look over at each other. Looks like both of them ready to go, walking away from the car right now. They both step away. You hear a little pop in the pipes there. And away they go. Booker doing the job on the tree. He's better up front. But Rachel Meyer thunders by with a 5:24 at 279. Rachel Meyer goes to the final round here with that 5:24, 279 speed. Booker did his job on the starting line. He was better by 0.03 of a second, but gave up 8 on the other end, 5:32 at 272. Good-looking lap for Booker, right where he's been all weekend, but not enough performance to take out Rachel Meyer. Rachel goes to the final against her teammate Julie, and Rachel will get to pick her lane in the money round. So dragsters are all set for the finals. Here comes Funny Car. Looks like Camaro, and Camaro coming up. The body style of choice for these supercharged machines. DJ Cox and Phil Ez. Going to turn them up right now. Ez got to pick his lane. He chose the left, the Ray Skillman lane. The ultrasonic machine over there left side, out of Ohio. 2017 Camaro, Brad Anderson combination under the hood. 521 cubic inches worth. DJ Cox, carbon copy over here. 19 Camaro, Brad Anderson 521, making the power there. DJ out of Whiteford, Maryland for the family business, Dixie Construction and NGK. Bill is working his way up into the top alcohol funny car. He's campaigned a lot of fast rides here in the Midwest over his career. Now it's time to see if he can turn on a wind light and go to the final round here at Indy. Ez left side, Cox right side. One of them's going to the money round. Ez rolls in, lights the bottom bulb. Here comes DJ. This time it's DJ doing the better job at the starting line by 0.03 of a second. And he is your winner by a bunch. 561 at 263. Crosses by a 10th and a half down there out in front. DJ Cox by a car length, your winner. He was better 022 to 056. Phil Ez, 570 at 255. Falls off a little bit from yesterday's performance. But yesterday is not today, and today it's DJ Cox's turn to go on to the next round. He'll be in the final round coming up. And he will wait down there to see who he gets in the final, whether it will be Chris Foster. Everybody's nightmare is what he calls the machine out of Davenport, Iowa. His Camaro over here on the right-hand side of the track, the Dodge SRT lane. Rolls towards the water box right now. And on the left side, the former champ, two-time top alcohol funny car national champion, Johnny Lindberg out of Brownsburg, Indiana. And there's no question about it. If nothing else, Johnny Lindberg's got the coolest tow vehicle on the property. There's a term for that, which I can't use over the PA. But that is the joint project between his good buddy Richie Crampton and him. And we'll see Richie in this car in 3 weeks at the Denso Spark Plugs U.S. Nationals. Johnny making some shakedown runs and turning on some wind lights as well. He'd like to go on to the final round with his car. Teamed up with Brian Howe out on the West Coast, Cascade Trailers, and his longtime sponsor, Landmico, on the side of the car. Chris Foster, the independent campaigner over here on the right side. He's a former regional champion. Still finding success there in his bow tie. Both of them spinning them up, and away they go. Good looking drag race. Johnny pulling away. Johnny gets to the finish line first. How about a 5:55 at 2:67 for your winner, Johnny Lindberg? He'll be in the final round. Chris Foster a little bit behind at the starting line by about 0.02 of a second. Foster way off the pace down there, 5:71 at 2:57. There was no catching Lindberg as they got to the finish line. And it's Johnny Lindberg with that 5:55. He'll have lane choice when we go to the finals coming up in just a few minutes. A little bit of a shuffle out there. Brush off a little clutch dust, any errant rubber, anything, the marbles out there. Get everything cleaned up before we go into our Lucas Oil Sportsman categories. This weekend, the Lucas Oil competitors got to compete this weekend as part of the North Central Divisional schedule. And for me, for Drag Racer TV, a big thanks to Bo Butner and the JBA, Jim Butner Auto Group, for their support to help bring live streaming of divisional racing this weekend. Happy to have them on board and appreciative of their support for the past 3 years as a part of our programming. So these are the kinds of cars that I get to cover each and every weekend when I go out. The Lucas Oil Divisional. Super Street coming up first. No dial-in here. The index is already picked. It's up on the board. You see 1090 on the scoreboard. That's the target that they're shooting at. Now what they're trying to do, pretty simple. Turn on a wind light, go to the final round. Marcus Bush, the principal out of Aledo, Illinois, The Bush Racing 77 Nova He's got Jimmy Bannister alongside the purple Vega camback wagon over on the left from Laverne, Tennessee. These two cars would see each other quite frequently, especially in places like Beach Bend Raceway Park down in Bowling Green and all around the central part of the United States. 4 cars left. We're going to eliminate 2 of them, put them in the final. Coming up. Both of them let go almost identical. Finish line, it's going to be Jimmy Bannister. How about that? He goes dead on 1. 1090 with a 1 at 138. The car run the number dead 1. He was 1 thou behind at the starting line. Marcus Bush was better 023 to 024, so a coin flip there, but a 10th off at the finish line for Marcus Bush. It's Jimmy Bannister. He'll find his way to the final round to take on either Ricky Ship in the Nova or Donnie Durenberger in the Camaro. Reaction times last time were close, but this time around, they're identical. A double breakout win. Ooh, look at that. They were both 009 on the tree. They were both 1086.9 at the finish line. A true dead heat for Ricky Ship and Donnie Durenberger. The computer said by 7/10,000ths of a second. Ricky Ship on the closest race of the weekend gets the job done, winning on the double breakout. Ricky Ship goes to the final. They'll both look at that time ticket and go, what? But Ricky Ship sees the win on his side, and he will be there for the final round. Stock Eliminator. We've made our way down to 4 cars. Started with 64 at the beginning of the weekend. Parker DeVore left side, the Division 4 runner out of Blanchard, Oklahoma, taking on Bobby Brannon, the Division 4 runner out of Bossier City, Louisiana. And they both make their way to Indianapolis, and Brannon's weekend ends right there as he turns it red at the starting line. Parker DeVore will find his way to the final round. Wind light already flashing down there. He's 1177. 5 under his 1182 prediction, but he turned it green and Brannon turned it red. Brannon 1058 at 124 in his Camaro. Parker DeVore goes on to the final, and he gets this guy who'll get the free time shot right here, Dan Fletcher. If anybody needed a buy run, this is it. Or maybe not. Dan Fletcher, Churchville, New York. Collects a lot of hardware. Over 100 national event wins for Dan Fletcher. For ATI Performance Products and Mickey Thompson and Strutmasters.com. Fletcher, 021 on the tree. Heads for the other end. Had a 12:15 on the window. And he goes 11:52. I guess that was his index. He didn't put a number on the window. Got to pay more attention up here. 11:52 at 114, but he'll have it dialed in for the final round. Oh, by the way, he qualified with an 11:52. Just a little bit. Now it's time for the 890 cars. Super Comp. 410s Pro Tree. All 3 ambers will flash. They'll let go of the button. Throttle stops will do their work to try to help time their performance to run exactly 8.90 seconds when they get to the finish line. That's the number they're shooting for. Ricky Molnar and Christopher Dodd get their shot at it. Winner gets Devin Eisenhower in the final. Devin, who beat Jason Kinney in the last round, gets the bye into the final round, and it's going to be Christopher Dodd as Ricky lets go 1,000th of a second too early at the starting line. 891.0 for Christopher Dodd on the win, 181 for the speed. Ricky 001 and 2 under 888. Christopher Dodd. It has a final round appointment with Devin Eisenhower. Now, Eisenhower has parked this Super Comp car in the winner's circle a handful of times, as well as a Super Gas car. Devin, 2 years ago, put his Super Gas Camaro in the winner's circle here at the U.S. Nationals on his way to a World Championship. Eisenhower from Brownsburg, Indiana. American race car chassis ride over here on the right. He'll get a free look at 890. Try to get himself set up for the final. It's 006 on the tree. That part's good. Finish line 891.7 at 182. So Devin got it dialed in. We'll see him in just a little bit. Now it's Super Stock. And a strong group here to make up our semifinals. Let's see, you got your Drew Skillman over there in the Cobra Jet. You got Mark Nowicki over here in the Mopar. Jeff Dona waits in the water box. Got one of those Candies Family Motorsports Cobra Jets as well. Any one of the four would be a tough draw. Skillman got it dialed on 875. Nowicki off and running on his 983. As they head down track, they're 100th apart at the starting line. Skillman was better at the start, but Nowicki runs closer to the number at the finish, 984 at 135. He was 031 on the tree, Skillman 021, but he's 4 over 879 at 148. So by 19 thousandths of a second, win light goes to Mark Nowicki, and Mark will put his Dodge in the final against either a Ford or a Pontiac. Jeff Dona and Darren Kristen. Kristen, part of that Candies Family Motorsport operation out of Louisiana. The Cobra Jet with a 971. Jeff Dona hustling down track. Now, Jeff was your winner at the Sports Nationals a couple weeks ago. He carries a bounty all the way into the final round as Dona. Oh. So, just past the finish line. Had a car get a little bit out of shape. Our safety's Safari rolling out there. Darren Kristen just past the finish line. Swap lanes. Looks like he might have tagged the wall just a little bit. And from the NHRA TV vantage point, you can see the skid marks there on the track where he went from left to right, made an abrupt stop, and then back to the left. The doors open. Darren climbing out of the car, pulling his gloves off. He is certainly disappointed. So, tough way to end the day for Darren on the loss and tagging the wall. So, safety Safari down there checking out the driver. They'll make sure he is okay. They'll get things cleaned up, and we'll get back to action in just a little bit as we're going to hold up our Super Gas semifinals here. Kristen was dialed a 971. He went 6 over 977 at 135. Appeared he might have touched the brakes a little bit, but he got out of shape down there. Our safety crew's the best in the business down there. They'll get everything checked out, make sure Darren is okay. And we'll wait for a report from the top end before we speculate on his condition. Jeff Dona was 004 on the tree and left second. Kristen was 003. 981, 4 over for Dona. So by 0.02 of a second, he is your winner, and he keeps the bounty. As the Race to Win Motorsports bounty program in effect this weekend, and Jeff Dona, the winner from the Sports Nationals, is carrying a $100 bounty, courtesy of Janice and Michael Swan and Race to Win Motorsports. There's only one person left that could claim it. That would be Mark Nowicki. Otherwise, Jeff keeps it himself. So that looks like we're going to be a couple of minutes before we get back to action. So, Jim, if you're down there in the truck, looks like you got a few minutes to take care of a little business.
From sunrise to sunset, the new Honda Talon 1000s offer performance and fun for up to 4 passengers. Make that sunrise to sunrise. This is the side-by-side your family has been waiting for. More proof than ever that life is better side by side.
Born Wallace Gordon Parks in Goldtree, Oklahoma, the military tank test driver was known by those who loved him as Wally.
We were doing something we thought would be fun with automobiles.
Before 1951, hot rodding was a sport of unconnected clubs. Wally saw a need to unite them and move races to the track. And in 1951, the National Hot Rod Association was born.
We are in the position here of trying to conduct an amateur sport in a professional manner and still retain all of the amateur benefits. So far, that a very good job has been done in this regard.
For the next 56 years, Wally was instrumental in redefining the image of drag racers, thus establishing drag racing as a legitimate amateur and professional sport built on safety and speed.
We have to be as concerned with the youngster who is getting his car into competition for the first time as we do with the ones who have been running for a long time.
In 1986, the National Hot Rod Association moved to its permanent residence, and Wally got an office with a view of the San Gabriel Mountains that had watched over so many of the drag races he had sanctioned. To this day, winners are awarded a bronze trophy of a racer standing next to a tire, affectionately named the Wally.
That trophy means everything to a drag racer.
In April of 1998, Wally's dreams for a museum to tell the story of the sport he dedicated his life to came true.
The museum was a dream of anybody that had been involved with NHRA for any period of time.
In 2003, to commemorate Wally's 90th birthday, the NHRA Museum was renamed in his honor.
We never had any ideas that would lead to a facility this nice.
Just 4 years later, Wally passed away. Today, his work lives on through the organization he founded. Safety continues to be the focus of a sport that regularly sees speeds in excess of 300 miles per hour.
We did it together. I guess I take the accolades and the bows, but I've never gotten over the fact that it was a lot of other people that did it, and I was just fortunate enough to be one of them.
What made you fall in love with your car? The chrome? The smell of gasoline and old vinyl? Whatever it was, we're glad it happened. Let Summit Racing help keep your ride on the road. with performance upgrades and factory restoration parts. Plus, the tools and expert advice to put it all together. SummitRacing.com.
Introducing the new NHRA membership program. Show you are NHRA approved with the official membership of the National Hot Rod Association. Starting at just $78, members can receive 24 issues of National Dragster, exclusive members-only t-shirt, discounts off your race tickets, NHRA TV, Nitro Mall, and more. For more information, visit online at member.nhra.com today.
Let's say your coolant is like my Pink Funny car. It has a job to do, to get from here to there. Over time, your radiator could become clogged up, full of nasty corrosion and scale that keeps it from flowing like it should. Cue the zombies! These zombies are like corrosion and scale, and they can definitely create a problem for you. The new Peak Antifreeze and Coolant formula has 10 times more scale-fighting inhibitors and works like this. Now that's more like it.
New Peak Antifreeze and Coolant, now with 10 times more scale-fighting inhibitors and superior lifetime protection. Try and top it.
It's a shop on wheels, a rolling office, your home on the road. That's why your racing trailer should be the perfect fit for the way you work. Pegasus Race Trailers has been manufacturing custom full-size transporters for some of the NHRA's biggest teams since 1999. Each trailer is built from the ground up to your exact specifications at our facility in Sandusky, Ohio at factory direct prices. Visit us online or give us a call for more information. Pegasus Race Trailers, the official trailer of the NHRA.
Oh, big mistake. Stabbed the gas instead of the brake, and look what happened. Big spin, right?
I started the brakes program in 2008 after my boys, John and James, were killed in a car crash, like less than a mile from my house.
Go straight, a little more speed, a little more speed, a little more speed. And turn in. Catch it, catch it, catch it. Brake, 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 brake.
I just made the decision that I wanted to do something to prevent other teenagers and other parents and other families from going through the horrible situation of losing one of your children, someone that you love.
Catch it, look this way, look this way. Oh.
My son's friends came up with that name, Brakes, which is acronym for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. We're trying to teach them how to deal with emergency situations or how to avoid emergency situations. That's what Brakes is all about.
It's something that every teenager could use, and not even a teenager. I'm going to walk out of this with a few reminders. A lot of the different courses that they have and what she's going to pick up from this experience, I think it just has so much value that she's going to be a much better driver when she comes out of this course.
Catch it, look over there.
There's a lot of stuff for sure that they don't exactly teach you in driver's ed, and I think it was really kind of real world stuff that can happen to you out there when you're driving that you wouldn't necessarily know unless you came and did this.
Nicely done.
I'm absolutely a better driver now that I've been here.
You know, just getting an opportunity to, you know, in a controlled environment, be put in uncontrolled situations.
Catch it, catch it, catch it, catch it. Oh, we're running cones over. That's what we're here to do, okay? You don't know what you don't know.
No, I wasn't the best driver when I came in here. I think it'll help out, like actually being able to handle the vehicles and not get yourself in a dangerous situation, but when you do, be able to get yourself out of it.
Going through this course, you know, I'm hoping it saves his life. I mean, ultimately, or someone else's.
There it is. Catch it, stay with it, catch it. Excellent job, Donovan. Nicely done.
Well, it looks like the top end of the track is clear. That means we're ready for the 990 cars. They wait at the ready line right now. We'll pull them up. Wrong way, Rock Haas. Left side is Corvette Roadster built by Don Davis. Haas out of Commerce, Michigan. He pulls up. Ray Skillman side of the track. Justin Lopes alongside. The truck driver out of Massachusetts for Select Transportation, and Mickey Thompson, his 63 Nova over here on the right. Winner gets to face a Ship in the final round, Joey Ship. As Joey on the short side of the ladder gets the bye run into the final. Both of them come off the stops. You can really tell when Justin comes off the stop. That thing is running extremely rich. And on the double breakout, it's Justin Lopes getting it done. He was 003 on the tree, 2 thousandths under 989, 8 at 163. And Lopes goes on to the final round where he will see Joey Ship in the other lane for Rock Haas, 4 under 986 to end his weekend here in the semis. Joey Ship, Whiteland, Indiana. The Ray Skillman Auto Group Oldsmobile Cutlass. He pulls up in the Ray Skillman Auto Group lane. Not sure if he was trying to not leave the starting line or just what. 10:15 at 1:58. That was just an ugly pass all the way around, but guess what? Doesn't matter. He's going on to the final round. Joey Ship, Justin Lopes in the final. And with that, a little bit of an abbreviated portion of sportsman categories as we are moving the schedule around just a little bit to take care of our friends at Fox and make sure we stay on a schedule that's good for them and good for everybody else as well. So, Sportsman Cars will be back just a little bit as Top Dragster, Competition Eliminator, and Top Sportsman still have their semis to run, but you'll see them after the pros come up here in just a minute. The Mellow Yellow Series returns to the track, and Alan Reinhart returns to the microphone.
Thank you very much, Warren. Appreciate you giving me a moment or two there to get a bite to eat, take a break. We have got the tractors out there. We're going to do a spray. We're going to do a drag. Top Fuel is into the staging lanes. Wherever you are, if you can't see the track, fix that. And if you're watching at home on NHRA.TV, now might be the time to get yourself a beverage and put your feet up because the semifinals of the Mellow Yellow classes are coming up next. Safety Safari work their magic, and then it's Top Fuel here at Indy. Jim, take it away.
Amazing.
Toyota, let's go places.
Air, fuel, spark, the trinity of power. You need all three to bring your engine to life. Kenny and Norm knew that, which is why for over 50 years, the company that bears their name has been re-engineering what filtration can do. Engineered to protect against dirt and scientifically proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. K&N, 50 years of performance and innovation.
A lot of people say we're at the starting line,
there's nowhere else we'd rather be. And since we're the first domestic brand ever to finish at the top in initial quality and driver appeal in the same year according to J.D. Power, looks like we're first to the finish line too. We are the Brotherhood of Muscle, and we are back in drive.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
Weekend and all year on FS1.
Walking through a parking lot looking at cars may seem strange to some, but this is our Saturday night. All this pride lined up in rows of polished wheels and popped hoods is all we need for a great weekend. Nobody cares how old you are or where you came from. We just want to talk about the build, notice all the details, and share our passion.
The cars have changed, and the team and the budgets have grown, but the NHRA fan experience remains the same. Fans at the track get the same open access to the drivers that the original fans got back in 1951. Wally Parks founded the NHRA on the basis of safety, but also to provide the millions of racing fans with the experience that they had been craving. You come to the track, and no matter how old you may be, the stars of the sport take the time to shake hands, take a selfie, or sign an autograph. The open pit policy allows a general admission spectator to watch on as the 10,000 horsepower engines are rebuilt between rounds. Sometimes they even get put to work. But they're some of the most loyal and dedicated in all of sports, and faithfully sit in the heat of the stands to see which of their favorites will advance on to get a Wally.
And here we go, semifinals of Top Fuel rolling up to the ready line. The racetrack now 124 degrees. For you great fans here at Lucas Oil Raceway, it is 86 degrees out there. Water grains pumping up again, 112.9. Density altitude, 3,358 feet. So the adjustments to the engines will have already been made. Now it's a matter of adjusting to make sure that you get your power application correct. As I talked about earlier, there is a constant adjustment going on, both mechanically and tune-up-wise in these engines, to try to get them to make the same power all the time. And then you just adjust the rest of it. I mean, think about it like this. You're already tiptoeing on the edge between horsepower and traction. Those of you that live here in Indianapolis and anybody that's watching from a cold area, you know what it's like trying to drive on ice, right? Once you lose traction, it's almost impossible to get it back. Well, that's kind of what it is with the Top Fuel car. And the reason they're constantly adjusting the engines is simple. If you go up there going, okay, this is my power level, and then, well, it's cooled down, or the water grains have dropped, or the barometric pressure's gone up, and all of a sudden you've got more power. And now the adjustments you made can put you over the edge. And it works both ways. We've got a great pair here, Steve O and Leah P. Steve Torrance, the reigning champion, and Leah Pruitt. This ought to be a fun Final Four. They are all serious players in the points right now. No countdown to the championship this year. So when we get down to Pomona, or wherever, and start thinking about who's going to be the one standing up there making the speech, they're all going to look back at runs like this. When I had a chance to stop him, or I had a chance to stop her. always love when I hear racers over the years going, oh, we just need somebody to knock so-and-so out. Wouldn't you love to have your destiny in your own hand? That's kind of the position Doug Coletta's in right now because he's the point leader. Leah Pruitt down there in that SRT Hellcat Red Eye is second in the points right now. If she loses here, then no matter what happens, she didn't gain much ground. Even if Doug loses, they call that even. If Doug wins the next round, well, then she loses. If she wins here, it really puts the pressure on Doug. And it would also put Steve Torrance back a few more points. That Capco contractor car, we know what can happen when he gets on a roll. They are both red and black cars. They are certainly not friends when they're not in the race cars. Two of the greatest teams in drag racing right now. Capco on one side, DSR on the other. For a berth in the final round, little he said, she said. Leah's ready. Steve is ready. 6th the difference in reaction time, 500ths the difference in elapsed time. Steve Torrance goes 3.819, exactly the run he made earlier, 320 miles an hour. Leah goes 3.861, 316 miles an hour. When they hit the gas, they were 0.008 of a second apart. That was not the determining factor. But Steve Torrance, solid run again for the Capco boys, 3.06 to the 8th, 3.81 to the finish line, and Torrance is in the final, where he will await either the number one qualifier or the point leader. And Steve is jacked up about that after he made a mistake at the last race, and he'll tell you that. He has come back and trying to redeem himself by taking another trophy back to Kilgore. Race Doug Coletta or Terry McMillan. That's Terry, been bragging about that new car since they built it in their own shop. And that's Doug, who wasn't bragging about his car at all yesterday, but he sure is got a little more spring in his step today. Interesting to note, in between rounds back in the pits, they discovered a problem with the rear differential on Coletta's car. And that necessitated a last-minute swap. Now, there's certainly no issue about, gee, do we know if this rear end is as good as the last one? Well, of course it is. But the issue is, if they had not noticed the problem, that could have turned into an even bigger problem. But the Mac Tool team down there has been doing this a long time. And Johnny Coletta, well, let me just put it this way. You don't want to disappoint him. Not because, you know what, you don't want him to be disappointed. You don't want to disappoint him because he'll throw stuff at you. They have got Doug's car ready. He's had a great car today after having a not-so-great car yesterday. McMillan lives here in Indiana. He'd love to get back to another final here at his racetrack, and Doug Coletta's just been knocking down finals time after time. He's only missed one this year. Oh, a little smoke for both of them. Check it out. Terry McMillan's going to race for the trophy. 404 to a 405. Terry McMillan had a hundo in reaction time, and there are some Amalie folks going crazy right now. They got their first ever number one qualifier yesterday, and that was just a wild one. Off the starting line, they were within 100. At 60 feet, it was less than that. At the 330, they were basically dead even. You saw a little haze off the tires on both of them. Doug Coletta was in front at the 8th mile, but they both ended up with a coasting match down to the finish line, and 404 beats 405. You know how many times I've said right place at the right time kind of sport? How bad do you think Leah would have loved to race either one of those guys instead of Steve? So Torrance in the final against Terry. After everything that's happened throughout the course of the day, our final round is going to be the number 1 and number 2 qualifiers. just like you always figure it will be. Oh, man. Torrance, McMillan in the final. And the champ has lane choice. Funny car time. We watched the first pair go straight to the stripe without so much of a hiccup. And we watched the second pair, both overpowered. To give you an idea just how close the line is, that you cannot step over. J.R. Todd. Coletta Motorsports, DHL. If Coletta's going to leave here with a trophy today, it's going to have to come from J.R. Todd. And the yellow fella, John O., Todd Smith. The Global Electronic Technology Dodge over here on the right side, that's Paul Lee. The crew chiefs for this pair are brothers. Big brother in the blue shirt, little brother in the yellow shirt. That's the two of them walking out in front of the car. I'm sure there will be a friendly brotherly gesture when they let each other know my driver's ready. Oh, John's not wearing his glasses. Does Matt make him fog up? For the trip to the final round, JR bumps in left. Paul Lee right there. Paul Lee blows the tires off. JR's car shuts off. 432 at 216 miles an hour for the win. Paul goes 1025 at 76 miles an hour. So JR heads back to the final at a track that he loves, at a track that he used to come out here and watch funny cars run when he was looking through the fence because he wasn't tall enough to see over it. That's how long he's been coming to Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis. JR and DHL and Toyota in the final round here at the Dodge Nationals. Well, they will race the winner of the next pair. We got the safety safari out there checking on stuff. You saw JR's car knock the tire loose and kick sideways, but he had enough momentum to get it to the stripe. 432 for the win. Of course, 432 for the win. That's what you planned, right? Ron Capps and Bob Tasca trying to keep the Don Schumacher funny car winning streak alive. That's what Capps is thinking. Bob Tasca doesn't think that's such a cool thing. As soon as we get the all clear from the top end, we'll find out if it's going to be Ron Capps driving that Dodge in the final round here at the Dodge NHRA Nationals, or Bob Tasca's Motorcraft Mustang will be able to bust up the party. It's been interesting to watch these two cars throughout the course of the weekend. In qualifying, Ron was a little better. In round one, Bob was a little better. But basically, these are two very evenly matched cars. Whichever crew chief makes the right call and whichever driver hits the gas at the right time, it's going to be the determination. Word from the top end is send me two more. Ron Capps, the Napa Auto Parts, Pennzoil Dodge, USA Compressor, and Don Schumacher Racing. For Bob Tasca, out of Tasca Auto Group up in Rhode Island, in Florida, in Illinois, wherever else they are. Matchup of crew chiefs as well. Ron Tobler on the left side, known for being conservative, sometimes playing a little safe. And Mike Neff, known for being aggressive, sometimes going over the line. Mike Neff, you may recall, spent a lot of time working for and with Don Schumacher Racing. Not a whole lot of secrets out there anymore. You know, everybody knows this guy's reputation and what that guy does and what this guy's approach is. It's just a matter of who made the right choice on any given Sunday. And on this given Sunday, JR Todd awake. Tasca in the right side, Capps in the left side. The preparations have been completed. It's time for the drivers to go to work. There won't be any games played here. Tasca dives right in. Double ball, bang, bang. That's what I know. Caps goes in. And they're off. Bob Tasca is out of power, and Ron Capps has got a chance to run that Don Schumacher Racing funny car string one more. 4:06 at 316 miles an hour. The Napa Auto Parts Dodge will be at the final at the Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil. Bob Tasca goes 971 at 77 miles an hour. He was out of the throttle very, very early in the run there, and all he could do was sit and watch as Ron Capps goes storming on. So it'll be JR on one side, it'll be RC on the other. DHL against Napa, Coletta against Schumacher. Winner gets a funny car trophy that says Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil. Quick shuffle going on down there right now, and we have got a Pro Stock matchup that features a rivalry for the ages, and we're going to get to watch it play out twice. We do a quick little shuffle at this end. Reconfigure for 1,320-foot competition. Is that Terry? He's all masked up and like 10 miles from here. TV kept Terry at the top end, so he gets to come back, doesn't get to hang out the window. Sure, you get to cruise around with Sicily, but you don't get to hang out the window. That's not all bad. Spray buggy on the top end of the racetrack, Pro Stock at the ready line. Hey, just for you fans, just to let you know, because of a couple of the delays that we've had in the program here, after we run the Top Fuel final, we are still going to have some sportsman finals to go down the racetrack. So once you see the two Top Fuel cars go down the racetrack, whether Steve or Terry is able to light the scoreboard, we are still going to have a couple of cars to go down the track. So if you want to hang out and watch our Lucas Oil competitors battle it out, remember it's a Division III regional event for them, and believe me, they all want to win this as badly as the Nitro and Pro Stock drivers do, but they will still be competing a little bit after we run that Top Fuel final. Now, again, I think most of you fans have probably been here a time or two, since we've been here a time or two, but just because of the world we live in these days and all of the things that we have to do, our traditional winner's circle will not be taking place. So we will not be able to invite you to come down in front of the tower, take pictures, and celebrate with the winners. That's just not happening. We've got to be able to keep our social distance, and that's one of the ways that we're doing it. Speaking of which, fans, crew, racers, you've got to remember, protect yourself and others by always wearing your mask or cloth face covering. It is mandatory when you're here at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, so you don't spread the germs when you talk, sneeze, or cough. And to avoid the coronavirus, stay at least 6 feet away from anybody that's not in your group. Just don't clump up. Don't congregate at the track. Keep your distance. Again, that's part of the reason that we are not allowed to do our track walk, not allowed to do our pre-race, and not allowed to do our winner's circle. Believe me, the drivers and the rest of us enjoy the celebratory times as much as you fans do. But we need to get the spread stopped so we can get back to doing that. And stopping the spread depends on everybody. Let's be honest about the state of health. Stay away if you've been sick or exposed. People can have COVID without looking or feeling sick. All the precautionary protocols must be followed all the time. Behave at all times as if you could infect someone or if you could be infected. That's how we're going to stop the spread. So, we've got Greg and we've got Jeg. Uh-oh. That wasn't good. Greg Anderson either broke something or at the very minimum muffed the burnout. Okay, doesn't look like it's broke. Somebody's going to have to go back in the history books and tell me the last time that Greg muffed a burnout. The bad thing about that is that the clutch hates that. I mean, the crew chief doesn't like it either, but the clutch hates it. Will that affect the Summit Chevy? We're all going to find out together. I can tell you that Greg is wondering the same thing while he's sitting inside that car. Jeg Coughlin said this will be his last year. I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but I heard when Greg said that this is going to be his last year, or when Jake said it was going to be his last year, Greg said, you can leave now if you want. It won't hurt my feelings any. All right, that might not be exactly. These two have raced 102 times head-to-head. And they have a very even record head-to-head, as you would expect. Both championship caliber teams, both championship caliber drivers. Wheelie bar set. And the crews walk back. You can tell by the number of people down on the starting line that Greg and Jag ain't just another pro stock race. Whether it's for a trophy or whether it's for a chance to run for a trophy. Greg goes in. Jag's right there. And away they go. Coughlin's 0-10, but his car hangs a right. Greg goes to the wall and shoves the clutch back in. 673 at 205. There is no way 673 would have won that race under normal circumstances. Greg Anderson goes 849 at 113 miles an hour, and I can't prove it, but I would wager Greg broke something in the burnout, and he figured, let's stage it up and let's try. Because he got out there first gear, second gear, and shut the thing off. Coughlin goes 6.739. I mean, he let the clutch out. That thing hooked a right. And there's not a whole lot of drivers that probably would have been able to drag that back into the middle of the groove. Jag Coughlin did. And if Greg doesn't shut off, Greg wins the race. Even Jaggy knows that. For the record, 849 at 113 miles an hour for Greg Anderson. Now it's Jason Lyon, and Troy Coughlin. If Troy wins, that's the red car, the Mustang. It'll be an all Jags final. And I don't know if anybody could tell you the last time that a nephew and an uncle raced in a final round of a pro category. It's been a while. And if Jason Lyon can beat one Coughlin, he's going to have to come back and contend with another one. The Silver Summit Chevy for KB. Now, you saw a little extra drama over there on Greg's side. No such thing for Jason Lyon. That has been business as usual. And for Troy Coughlin, even though he is so new to the pro stock world, he has won in the sportsman ranks. He has won in the alcohol dragster ranks. He's actually driven in the top fuel ranks. That kid's not going to be feeling any pressure on the starting line, even if it is Jason in the other lane. He's just going to go up and do his thing. Jason's ready. Troy's ready. And Jason squares the tire. It's going to be an all Coughlin final round. 667, 205, and Troy Coughlin will race his Uncle Jaggy for the trophy. It'll be a Ford Chevy final, but it'll be an all Coughlin final. Troy looking to win in pro stock for the first time. Jag looking to not let that happen. 6.670, 205. Jason goes 1924 at 40 miles an hour. They were only a hunt apart on the starting line, but Jason dropped the clutch, squared the tire, and that was game over. Hey, listen up in the pits. I need top dragster, top sportsman, and competition eliminator to the lanes, please. Top dragster, sportsman, and competition eliminator. So Team Elite is going to carry the day in pro stock. We just don't know exactly which address in Delaware, Ohio the trophy's going to go to. We'll find that out a little bit later on. Changing the blocks down at the top end of the racetrack, and we are ready for pro stock motorcycle. Now, the last two times we have contested pro stock motorcycle, we have had a first-time winner. And it had been 16 years since that happened. We have got two of our final four that have never won a pro stock motorcycle race. They would love to continue that streak, and I don't know how far you'd have to go back to figure out the last time we had three in a row. We also have two that are two of the winningest ever in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Ever. And they intend to end that streak. Just waiting for the all clear at the top end of the racetrack to fire them up. It'll be Angel and Scotty, the first pair out. Angel. Screaming Eagle Harley. She makes her home down in Louisiana with her husband Seth and Ava, who's just about old enough for a junior dragster. Just point that out. Scotty Polachek. He and his wife out of Oregon. They come in here to jump on this bike for Matt Smith on a very regular basis. Looking down at the performance throughout the day. Angel was a little quicker in the last round. Scotty Polachek was a little quicker in the first round. The purple Strutmaster bike for the runner out of Oregon. He's been to the final before. Hadn't closed the deal. Angel's won a lot of them, but it has been a while. We've got a Harley. We got an EBR. We got green lights, both sides. Both drivers really good on the tree. And this baby is going to go to the left lane. 6.879, 196 miles an hour for Angel with a 009 reaction time. Scotty Polachek, 021. He wasn't late by any means. He makes a 693 run, which is better than the last round, but it wasn't enough. So Angel in the final round for the first time in a while, for the first time on a Harley, 6.879. Angel will race for the trophy. And she'll never say this out loud, but she wouldn't mind racing Chris Bostic. Because let me tell you something. Ain't nobody wants to run. Nobody wakes up in Pro Stock Motorcycle and goes, oh, please, can I run Eddie Krawick? It just doesn't happen. Eddie on the left side, trying to go right down the tire track of his teammate. And Chris Bostic. Now, Chris hadn't been killing him for performance, but he won one via breakage, won one via the starting line. And you know the old story, right? They don't say how, they say how many. Bostic lines up over here on the Suzuki Extended Protection bike. And Eddie Krawick, left side on the Harley. Nobody in any particular hurry to stage up here either. Well, alrighty then. They both go in about a second apart and off the starting mark. How about it? Bostic is way out there. The Harley bogged. Look at this. Chris Bostic is going to the final. Oh, that's from the You Gotta Be Kidding Me file. 6.977, 190 miles an hour. Eddie Krawick goes 718 at 197. And his bike just didn't move when it was time to go. And I don't mean reaction time. I mean 127 at the 60 foot. So Chris Bostic on a Suzuki from the Stouffer Underdahl camp is going to the final from the number 11 qualifying spot where he will race Angel for the trophy. Unbelievable. Hey, listen up in the pits. Top dragster, top sportsman comp, I need you in the lanes, and I need my Lucas Oil finalists to head this way, please. Lucas Oil finalists to the lanes. Chris Bostic, 6.977, will race for the trophy against Angel. What an absolutely unbelievable day in Pro Stock Motorcycle, and we've been saying that just about every day in Pro Stock Motorcycle the last few times that we've had him out here. Chris Bostic made his first appearance in NHRA in 1999. He made his first final round appearance today. He has not been on tour the full time, but he has been out here sporadically off and on. And Pro Stock Motorcycle has been more of the watch lightning strike again category. Well, basically since the finals last year. And now it's Mountain Motor Pro Stock. One more time. Oh, attention in the pits. I need all of my Lucas Oil finalists to the staging lanes, please. Lucas finalists, I need you to the lanes, please. Elijah Morton on the left side. J.R. Carr on the right side. We get into our Mountain Motor Pro Stock semifinals. The folks at Liberty Gears helping to make this happen here at the Dodge NHRA Nationals. And they are a fun addition to the class. Especially, it's like Joe Costello and I were talking on WFO radio last Tuesday. Hey, if you're a fan of door slammers, we got Pro Stock, we got Pro Mod, we got Mountain Motor Pro Stock, we got Top Sportsman. I mean, if you like fast door slammers, we had about everything here this weekend. Troy Coughlin's team going back to get ready to put a little whooping on his Uncle Jag. That's the way he's telling the story, I promise you. Advantage at the tree, J.R. Carr. Advantage on the track, Elijah Morton. 635, 220 miles an hour. Carr goes 638, 222 miles an hour. True margin of victory at the finish line stripe, 0.003 of a second. J.R. Carr was 300ths better on reaction time. Elijah Morton, 300ths better on the racetrack. Figure in the little bitty numbers, and the margin is 0.003. And Elijah Morton is going to run for the trophy against one of these two. Either John DeFlorian or Johnny Plushino, as Pro Modified pulls in directly behind him. I said, you like door cars? Fast door cars? We got fast door cars. Camaro on the left side, Mustang on the right side. 800 plus cubic inches on both sides. DeFlorian out of Missouri, Plushino out of New York. Folks that usually are out getting her done on the 8th mile. Getting it done here on drag racing's biggest stage, Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, on the quarter mile. Plushino moved first. They're both kind of dancing around a little bit out there in the middle. And how about a 635 beats a 638? I tell you, those final four cars pretty evenly matched. All four of them within 0.03 of a second. But Johnny Plushino, he had the better bulb, and he had the quicker car. So this one wasn't quite as close as the last one was. But Johnny, the number 3 qualifier, going to race Elijah, the number 4 qualifier in the final round. And they both ran 635 to get there. Lane choice by 7th. Thal will go to Elijah. But I am looking forward to a great final round when those two match up, as both of them within just a few thousandths of a second in performance. And now it's Pro Mod. We got a blower car. We got 2 nitrous cars, and we've got a turbo car. And right now, we've got a blower car that won't start. Jonathan Gray has rolled up into the water and is waiting patiently. They ran back to the car to get the turnover bar for Mike Janis's car. Sometimes, you just got to give the motor a little nudge, and it will go ahead and fire. The All-Inavi Performance car has not yet cranked to life. Gray is making his way back from the burnout. The clock is ticking for the former champ, and now it does start. Mike Janis gets the car running. He's going to have to do a short burnout and hustle up to the starting line. Well, you know what? For all the other stuff that's gone wrong for Mike Janis this weekend, why not have a car that won't start in the semis? Just enough to get the tires dry. Now he'll be bringing that thing back. Janis qualified in the number 13 spot, but the car has been better than that today. It's been a wild day in Pro Mod, well, just like everything else. The former champ over on the left side that spent all night last night rebuilding that fender. And Jonathan Gray driving that Ricky Smith car, and we got two of them out here. Ricky Smith, as I said earlier, he could potentially race himself in the final while standing on the starting line. Let me tell you, even Troy Williams Jr. ain't that good. I mean, he might race himself in the final, but he ain't going to do all he's standing on the starting line. $900 cubic inches of Pat Musey muscle and a whole lot of laughing gas, or a Mike Janis designed and built blown Hemi on alcohol, will go to the final. Jonathan Gray goes right in. We're not playing any games in this pair. They're both in. Jonathan Gray with a 009, and this baby's over. I think that thing might have blown up. 671, 159. Saw a pop out of the pipes down there. That thing definitely did not run all the way to the finish line, but it got the win. Jonathan Gray was 009 on reaction time. Mike Janis, as you might expect after all of that drama down there, was a little late, but by the time Janis got 300 feet, his car had quit. At about the 8th mile or so, you saw a pop out of the pipes on Jonathan Gray's car. And right now, I guarantee you, they are hoping and praying that that thing ain't hurt. Because with a quick turnaround, they would not have a whole lot of time to get it fixed if it is. For the record, 6.715, 159 miles an hour. But Jonathan Gray is in the final. And they might be in mad thrash mode, but they are in the final. You see the trackside observers diving over the wall to go out there and take a look. They saw and heard the same thing I saw and heard. But something wasn't right down there, and we just want to make sure. Word comes, all clear. They're pushing Mike Janis around the corner at the top end. The next pair pull into the water box. Chris Thorne, who was just part of that epic burn down with Stevie Fast Jackson. And I'm telling you, I'm already looking forward to the next time those two race. I'm not rooting for anybody. I don't care who wins. I love the rivalries. You think about the biggest rivalry in sport, whether it's drag racing, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, I don't care. Pick a sport. It's not between people who are best friends. It's not between people who go out on vacation together. It's not between people who hang out and have a beer at the end of the day. It's between people who genuinely want to win. And it's between people who genuinely hate getting beat by the other guy. I can't help but think one of the greatest rivalries, I think, in the history of NHRA was Warren Johnson and Bob Glidden back in their heyday. And if you ask either one of them, do you hate the guy? I don't even know him. I don't have time to talk to him. He's not on my radar. We don't exchange Christmas cards. I don't even know him. All I know is every time I pull up the starting line, he's trying to take food off my table, and I don't like that. And that's what makes sport fun. Bo Butner in the left side has never won in Pro Mod. Might be the only thing he's never won in. And Chris Thorne with the turbo car. Now, we saw Stevie Fast try to make Chris Thorne go in and stage first. I don't know if Bo Butner's got the same thing in mind or not. But we do know that Chris has got a quick car. We do know that Chris has got a very high mile-an-hour car. And we do know that Chris has got a turbo car, and as a rule, they like to stage last. So let's see how this plays out as Bo Butner and Chris Thorne ease up to the staging beams. We're pre-staged. I should have had my stopwatch ready. Nope, not going to matter. Bo goes right in. Here comes the boost. There's Chris. Thorne gets out of the groove. He kicks the tail sideways, and Bo goes right straight to the final. 584, 249 miles an hour. Chris goes 688 at 160. And you saw that thing get out there and start getting up on a tire, climbing around, moving towards the wall. By the time he got it straightened out, Bo was long gone. And he'll take that 584.6 at 249 miles an hour. And what I mentioned earlier is what's going to happen. Ricky Smith is going to race himself in the final round, and he won't be driving either one of them. That's not easy to do. Ricky Smith has done a lot of things in drag racing, but even he ain't never done that before. You know what Ricky ought to do? He ought to just go back, just give me the check. I'm going back to the hotel. I don't care what you guys do. Oh, man, 684. And Bo Butner in the final against Jonathan Gray. Let's bring on the Top Fuel Harleys. Ryan Peary on the left side, Ty Tharp in the right. 1,000 horsepower, 1,000 pounds, and a whole lot more guts than I possess. Injected nitro burners, where not only do you wear leathers, but you also have to wear a ballistic vest because you're laying right over the top of that back cylinder. And anybody knows anything about nitro burning motors knows that, well, the combustion doesn't always stay in the cylinder. They're in. Tharp's bike sounded like it laid down when he cracked the throttle, didn't it? Or was I making that up? Watch it down to the stripe, 638. Well, I guess not. 219 miles an hour. I'm telling you, when Ty Tharp cracked the throttle back over there, it sounded to me like the Spevco bike almost bogged a little bit. But it sure didn't run like it. 638, 219, 651 for Ryan Peary at 208 miles an hour. Made another good solid run. Just didn't have anything for Ty. So Ty Tharp with the Samson exhaust Spevco bike will either race Randall Andrus or Ricky House. Ricky House looks like a little bit behind on the timing down here, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a big issue as he rolls the Nitro Shark out of the water now and up to the ready line. Andrus, the prime coating bike out of Louisiana on the left side. Part of that Bulldog team. And Ricky House. Before he was doing this, he was driving a alcohol flat bottom. Ricky's one of those guys that's always like scary, dangerous, really fun stuff. 6.304. Oh, man. Randall Andrus just showed everybody what it's all about with that run. 6.304 at 218 miles an hour. 646 at 207 for Ricky House. And that final four in Nitro Harley was pretty darn strong, I think, with all four bikes making good, solid pulls to the finish line. But only two can win. And Randall and Ty will race for the trophy. This is Top Dragster. And in this part of the world, Division 3, presented by Oakley Motorsports, Competition Engines, as well as Diamond Pistons. And the guy in the left lane is Phil Oakley. Will sponsor help from the Texas Roadhouse, does his own power plants. You can see the supercharger right down in front of the engine, right behind the driver cage. And that's basically the same configuration as Al Pavler's car. We're at the semifinals. We have 3 drivers left. Whoever wins here will come back and race Aaron Stanfield. The same Aaron Stanfield that last we saw in a pro stock car earlier this morning. Hey, I told you the kid was versatile. Look at the numbers down on the scoreboard. That's the dial in. It's handicap racing. It's full countdown tree. It's left lane goes first, but not by much. The 2 blown big blocks huffing and puffing down to the stripe, and watch it at the top of the scoreboard. 6:14 for the win for Al Pavler. 221 miles an hour. Phil Oakley goes 6:25 at 2:16. Philip was 009 on reaction time, and that's pretty darn good. But he didn't have the right number on the side of the car, and that's pretty darn not so good. So Oakley, the class sponsor, bows out here in the semis, and Pavler, whose weekend started by racing his kid, is going to come back now and race Aaron Stanfield a little bit later on in the day. When Aaron Stanfield is not driving the pro stock car, he's building engines. Well, like this one. 769 cubic inches and a whole lot of laughing gas. Yeah, I know it's not exactly like a Ricky Smith engine, but close. This car, if turned loose, would run in the 5s. In this category, you're not allowed to do that. Did he just give his mom a nitrous blast? That's not very nice. That's not very nice. He put a 717 on the side of it, 617. He's going to do a little dial-in check here. All he's got to do is take the tree to win. But if you got a free practice run on the way to the final, why wouldn't you take it? You can never have too much practice. You never have too many free runs. He hits the tree at 003 and goes 6:13. That's why you make the practice run. Go back and see if we need to adjust, and sometimes the adjustment is made simply by changing with shoe polish or with the electronic dial-in board, whichever is easier. So our final is set. It'll be Pavler, it'll be Stanfield for the trophy in Oakley Motorsports Diamond Piston Top Dragster. And now it's comp eliminator. And we're going to start with a couple of very interesting dragsters that are very different. Now, the thing about comp, for those of you who may not be in the know, I'll put you in the know. Come to the know and knock, and I'll open the door and I'll let you in. Comp is based on a lot of different things, like engine configuration and weight and cubic inches and transmission and blah, 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 blah. But the beauty of comp is it's performance-based. Every category has an index. For Brian Browell on the right side, the index is 777. You see it down there on the Dodge scoreboard. For Terry Smith on the left side, the index is 702. The reason? Brian Browell has a V6 dragster. Terry Smith has a Hemi-powered dragster. But you don't have to try to run that number. You just have to get there first. The farther you run under you go, the more competitive you're going to be. But you have to get there first. You don't break out in comp. Get a green light. And then get the stripe. You can hear the little 6-cylinder down there huffing and puffing and huffing and puffing. Here comes the Hemi. Not going to get him. 722. 183 miles an hour for Brow. 651 for Terry Smith. Closing in at 208 miles an hour, and he came up 400ths short. So Brian and Deborah going to a final again. They are big-time hitters in this part of the country, and that little 6-cylinder will be back to try to get the trophy later in the day against either Rick Brown's truck or David Billingsley's 6-cylinder powered Camaro. The I-altered automatic for Billingsley out of Decatur. He was the number 1 qualifier, but he's given up a little index on the way here. Rick Brown did not run particularly well in qualifying, but he's come to life on race day. You can see the dial, only 0.2 difference. It's a small block pickup. It's a V6 Pro Stock style Camaro. Handicap is 0.2 seconds to the left lane. First one to the finish line gets to race Brian Brow. Winner takes home a trophy. Billingsley pulls up alongside. Billingsley drives by 8:13, 156 miles an hour. And David Billingsley, who hasn't won in a while, will have a chance to win again later on this afternoon on the regional trail. And now it's Top Sportsman, which bears a striking resemblance in. Lester Johnson on the left side, that's a 55 Bel Air. Chop top, slam down, aerodynamic, 526 cubic inch turbocharged Hemi powered car. Yeah, you know, just your basic 55. Eric Burnett in the Cavalier. Pro Stock style machine with a 540 something inch big block Chevy that's force feeding it through hair dryers also. The dial between these two is almost heads up. It's only going to be 100th difference when the tree comes down. And for Burnett, his weekend has been an adventure. It started by, well, two terrible qualifying runs. All right, I'm sorry, I'll be honest. One terrible qualifying run and one that he didn't even make. So he came in the first round dialing blind and has been able to make his way this far. They should be side by side all the way down the racetrack. They should be. Lester Johnson went in double bulb. That was kind of interesting. Now he's set and he's ready. Burnett pulls in. Here comes the tree. They're both away on the green. Burnett starts dancing around a little bit in the middle of the racetrack. He might have had to pedal it. Lester, 6:49 for the win. 2:03. Burnett goes 6:81 at 2:09, and I truly believe that Burnett had to pedal that thing out in the middle of the racetrack when it started moving. Lester Johnson had a 1:28 reaction time. As a general rule, if you're in this style of racing, you have a 1:28 reaction time, your team starts taking down the awning before you get to the finish line. But Lester's going to the final. Been a while since he has won on the regional level, but he's going to have a shot at it as he goes up against Billy Thoman. Billy Thoman. That's 63, split window Corvette. So with three cars coming back, the odd lot single goes to Billy. He knows he's going to come back and run Lester. He is predicted a 6:59. He left early, but you're allowed to do that on a practice run. And he runs 6.590, 210 miles an hour. Billy says, bring on Excalibur. Austin Toole, Monte Carlo on the left side as we're going back in time again. Let's get in the Wayback Machine. We go back to 2 weeks ago when we were running Classic Division III ET bracket race here in conjunction with the Nitro cars. Bill McCarty, that Dodge truck, actually entered it in 3 different classes, which you're allowed to do on any given Saturday night. Made it into 2 finals, trying to get the trophy here. The numbers on the scoreboard are dialing. Now, this is 8th mile bracket racing. This is what's known as Pro ET category. Dial them in. Handicap star to go to the truck. Green light. Here comes Austin. Red light by 1,000th of a second. Billy McCarty, I can see him celebrating from here. You see him pumping his fist inside that Classic. It's an 84 Dodge D150. He ran it in 3 different classes, made it to 2 finals, and 1 in Pro ET. And when he's out here on an ET bracket weekend, he literally like never get out of the truck. He just keeps driving around and around and around. And here comes the Super Street Final. For the trophy, Division III, regional event, and we start with Super Street. We got an opportunity to have a couple of Ship brothers in the winner's circle. That's Ricky Ship on the Nova left side, Jimmy Bannister on the right side, and the little purple Vega wagon. That thing's got a big block stuck under the hood. There's also a big block under the hood of the red Nova over on the other side. 10.90 is the number. They turn him loose here. They dash him down there. Bannister in the Vega. Ricky Ship in the Nova. Wind light says Ricky Ship, 10.939 on a 1090. 135 the speed. 1094 for Jimmy Bannister. Jimmy was a little bit tardy on reaction time, and Ricky Ship made him pay. Ricky wins for the 6th time on the division trail, and that is 1 trophy going home with the Ship family. And now it's stock eliminator. That's Parker DeVore on the left side. That's Dan Fletcher on the right. Dan Fletcher has 32 regional wins. Parker DeVore has 1. But you know what? Parker DeVore could double his total here today, and Dan can't. It's as simple as that. DeVore, a Clampett Motorsports machine out of Oklahoma, a Volare against an SS350 1969 Camaro of one of the best in the biz. It's stock eliminator, and they turn him loose. DeVore off and running. Fletcher trying to catch him. Fletcher trying to catch him. And Dan Fletcher not going to catch him. 11.774 for the win. A 007 reaction time and 1 above. And that closed out Dan. Parker DeVore just picked up his 2nd. He finally got the other book in. Look at him pumping his fist in the car. I'm telling you, I can see it all the way from here. Parker DeVore, you should be excited. If you beat Dan Fletcher, you deserve a trophy. He just beat Dan Fletcher, and we're going to give him a trophy. Christopher Dodd, Devin Eisenhower, as we are now in Super Comp. 890 is the magic number. Dodd all the way in from Texas. Devin Eisenhower from right here in Brownsburg. The guy in the right lane is playing a home game. The guy in the left lane, the Invader, out of Division 4, where he is in the landscape and pool building business. 890 is the math. Cars will jump off the starting line. Throttle stops will kick in. They will slow them down to try to get the car to hit the target. In this category, you don't get to adjust the target. You have to adjust your car. And neither driver's in any particular hurry to stage. Eisenhower now goes in. Christopher Dodd goes in. And they both go green. There's the throttle stop. Shut the butterflies, and then they'll turn it loose. It's a chess game at the top end of the racetrack, and the wind light says Texas. 892, 176. Eisenhower goes 891 at 173. He was closer to the target. He was late on the reaction time, and Christopher Dodd picks up regional win number 3. And now it's Jeff Dona and Mark Nowicki. Jeff, who is the last remaining bounty runner, something they do on the Division III trail, the Race to Win Motorsports, folks. Put a bounty on the winner of the last event. If he wins the next event, you collect your own bounty. That's what Jeff Dona's got in mind, that wheel stand in 98 Formula Firebird. Mark Nowicki, that thing's a crate model, late model 360 powered, 98 Avenger. They're off and away, wheels up for Dona, as he's been doing. Nowicki right alongside. Make the right choice at the stripe. The Dodge Nationals, the Dodge gets the trophy. It is a double breakout. Dona goes under by 0.03 of a second. Nowicki goes under by 0.02 of a second. They're 4th thou apart in reaction time. Jeff Dona got the stripe 007. Wrong side of the math. Mark Nowicki will get a trophy at the division race here at the Dodge Nationals. He will also get the bounty from Race to Win Motorsports for taking out Jeff Dona. And the next time we go racing in Division 3, the price will be on his head. Oh, by the way, division win, number 6. Now it's Joey Ship and Justin Lope. If Joey wins, the Ship brothers will both take home a trophy. That's the Ray Skillman cut list. Justin Lopes thinks that's a dumb idea. He's in from Massachusetts, and he wants to get the trophy and head back that way with that big block-powered 63 Chevy 2. 990 is the number here. Don't mind the smoke coming out of Justin's car. It's been doing that all week, and it hadn't slowed the car down a bit. To the finish line stripe, winner picker says, Justin, it is a double breakout again, 988 to a 989. For those of you bracket racers, Justin Lopes just went 006 and took 1 thou. Battle of the brake pedals down at the end of the racetrack. Joey Ship was 013 crossing second, and he was locked out. Justin 006 snugged him up 1,000th of a second at the stripe, and Justin Lopes will take the trophy back to Massachusetts, where it'll join the 3 that he already has on the mantle. All right, here's where we stand right now. The next thing that's going to be on the track is the Pro Stock Motorcycle final round. And they should be here. They should be on their way, actually. Let's just put it that way. Now, we are going to run our pro finals because we have that NHRA on Fox TV window. So we've got to get that taken care of after the Top Fuel final. After we decide whether Steve or Terry is going to take the trophy, we're going to have Alcohol Dragster, Alcohol Funny Car, Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Top Fuel Harley, Pro Mod, Top Dragster Comp, and Top Sportsman finals to run. Those will run after we run the Pro Finals. And the Pro Finals is slated to be next. And the Safety Safari is going to do what they got to do. So the track will be in prime time shape. When the motorcycles run up, we're going to run them right into the water box. Followed by Pro Stock Funny Car and Top Fuel. It has been a wild day. I don't see any reason it's going to stop now. So grab yourself something cool to drink. Grab yourself an ice cream. Everybody keeps walking in front of the tower eating ice cream, and I'm going, I want ice cream. I'm sorry, that sounded like I was whining, doesn't it? I didn't mean to be whining. I just want ice cream. But anyway, you got a couple of minutes. So figure 5 or 6. Hopefully by then we'll be ready to go to Pro Stock Motorcycle, and then we will rock right on through the rest of the final rounds. Jim, let's see what you got to keep us entertained while we wait for our finalists.
It's time to show your Nitro passion. Visit nitromall.com and gear up in official NHRA apparel. From custom tees and headwear to authentic gear for ladies and you, nitromall.com will satisfy your need for speed. Plus, we're your one-stop shop for exclusive accessories, event product, and gear from some of the top drivers on the strip. Nitromall.com, the official store of the NHRA. Race there now and show your Nitro passion.
Red, I'm dead thirsty. You didn't forget the cooler, did you, bro?
MagnaCool, the world's only patented magnetic cooler. Never spill your cooler again. These 3-day ice coolers stick to metal, aluminum, and fiberglass.
Where did you put that cooler, Red?
They come in assorted colors and also in a 24-can hard case. To order yours, go to magnacool.com.
1955, he had one mission: sell people quality vehicles at prices they can afford. And nothing's changed today. Now we do $299 down, $299 a month, $299 down, and $299 a month. Get you into a quality used vehicle with a 1-year warranty.
So don't work for your car, make your car work for you. $299 down, $299 a month, $299 down, $299 a month. And that's another reason at Jim Butler Auto, we're striving to keep you driving.
Racers, when it is time for your next race trailer, built the way you want without compromise, look no further than Vintage Trailers. Troy Stone and the entire Vintage team has been in the custom race car trailer business for over 27 years, and for over 22 years racing alongside you using the products they build and sell. Vintage Trailers can put you in exactly the right equipment Whether it's with living quarters, bath facilities, traditional rig, or a stacker, with over 24 designs in-house or built to your specifications. No matter what the need for you, your team, or your entire race operation, Vintage Trailers has what you need. Just look for the slime green rig at the next race to see the quality, vintage manufactured custom stacker, or check them out on the web at vintagetrailers.com. Vintage Trailers, quality by design.
Hey y'all, Emily Volkman here from Service Department Solutions to talk to you automotive dealership principals, service, and parts managers. Service Department Solutions is an automotive consulting group who can help you maximize your service and parts operations and your bottom line. We will submit a factory warranty request to your OEM for reimbursement of labor and parts markup according to your individual state statutes. We've dealt with all manufacturers and know how they will treat you. No dealership is too big or small. We handle them all. Maybe your guys need a little extra training and some new processes implemented. We've got them and can provide that extra push to help your winning team. Stop by the trailer and see us. Visit our website or call 412-651-2356. We're here for you 24/7.
Ultronics, the leader in performance electronics. Racers know and depend on their state-of-the-art systems every day. Perform Air Pro and Perform Air Eclipse are the racing industry standard, high-tech, easy-to-use weather systems. Power-Light lithium batteries, the super powerful lightweight energy source for your machine. And the Data Quest Power Quest, the most innovative data recorders and touchscreen switch panels you can find. Check out ultronicsinc.com for these products and more. Ultronics, the choice of champions.
Racing is a risky sport. Don't take risks with your racing operation. On or off the track, protection from LODRS Motorsports Insurance is not a risk. Get your quote today at LODRS Motorsports Insurance.
At the Jim Butner Auto Group, we're striving to keep everybody driving. Whether you need to reestablish your credit or have traditional bank financing, we created the Jim Butner Auto Group for you. We can service your vehicle and even offer no-interest financing on all your service repairs. Wide selection, traditional and special financing, and a world-class service center are just a few of the ways we at the Jim Butner Auto Group are striving to keep you driving.
The Jim Butner Auto Group, now at 2 locations, a bigger selection, and more financing options. Because at Jim Butner Auto, we're striving to keep everybody driving.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Our Pro Stock Motorcycle final is in the water box. Angel in the left side, Chris Bostic in the right. And if you have been following Pro Stock Motorcycle over the course of the last little bit, they've got a problem with Angel's bike down there. Let me tell you something. When the Vance and Hines guys are going, give me your keys and let me see if I can fix this, something is not right. I will also tell you this. There's nobody better working on a motorcycle than the Vance and Hines guys. And there is a crowd around Angel's motorcycle. Chris Bostic waits patiently as we wait for the signal to fire him up. What they appear to be working on is a clutch cable. The Pro Stock cars are not here yet, so it's not like a desperate thrash, but I have said it before, they call this the ready line, not the give me a minute line. Those guys over at Vance and Hines build these machines, and I mean every bit of them, from the chassis to the engines to the components. And right now, I think everybody on the Vance and Hines payroll is over there as they continue to try to work on it. Angel waiting patiently. Now, she has been in a position a number of times over the years, and I mean 73 times in the final round. What that was just rolling the bike back to get the tire wet again. And that tells me they've got it fixed. They wanted to be able to start it up and do a burnout without worry of the tire being dry. And again, that's like an attention to detail thing. Those guys don't miss much. For Angel, her last win, 2014. For Chris, never. At this point, if you've got any kind of a, like, okay, breathing exercise, let's go, calm down, focus, now's the time. Chris Bostic has never been to a final round before. He was a last-minute entry coming in here. The Tennessee rider on the Stouffer Underdahl Suzuki. From the number 11 qualifying spot, this eased his way through the field. Again, hadn't been killing him, except exactly with the elapsed time, but he's been going down the racetrack and making it happen. All the drama was over on the left side. Now we'll figure out if they really did get it fixed. Angel on the left side, Bostic in the right. Chris Bostic looking for his first ever. Angel looking for her first in a long time. Bostic waits for a minute before he pulls in, and how about this? Whatever was wrong with the Vance and Hines scooter ain't wrong no more. 6.880, 196 miles an hour, and a 001 reaction time. I do believe whatever Angel might have needed for confidence, she got it back today. A couple of great reaction times, solid effort on the bike. Chris Bostic runs 695, 191, makes his best run of the weekend. He got nothing to hang his head about. Angel picks up national event win number 43. The last time she won, we were racing in Englishtown, if that'll give you an idea. And again, for Bostic, for the Stofers, the Underdogs, that whole team down there, you guys had a great day making it to the final round. And Angel pulls it off. The first time since Englishtown, all those years ago, the 43rd time in her career. And call me crazy, but I'm thinking you might see a tear or two at the top end, and that's going to be tears of joy and tears of relief.
This is my day. My day, finally.
We're going to piggyback with our NHRA on Fox cameras and hear what she has to say. I guarantee you, Ava, your mom's bringing a trophy home from Indianapolis in the Dodge NHRA Nationals. Pro Stock Motorcycle continues to be just a wacky category from top to bottom. Let's check in. Top end, Amanda Busick is up there with our Pro Stock Motorcycle champ. Everybody be quiet. We're going to listen in.
This is my day, and Angel, with all of that tension at the starting line, you pulled off a 001 reaction time. How do you do it?
I don't know. I tried to stay calm. I didn't know if they were going to get the bike fixed, and Chris was doing such a good job, and luck seemed to be on his side, and I just said, I'm going to put all my fears in God, and I'm just going to stay calm, and they got it fixed, and oh my God, thank you, Vance and Hans and Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson, I told you I was going to do this. I told you I was going to do it. I bet you thought I was dead, but I'm not dead. No, happy birthday to me. Yes, finally. Oh, God.
What a day for Angel. She had a bye in the first round when Steve Johnson broke and could not make the call. In the second round, she stopped Andrew Hines. In the semifinals, Scotty Polachek. And after a little clutch cable drama in the final round, she dropped a 001 light on Chris Bostic and made it happen. Angel in the winner's circle at Indy. And as I said, for Chris Bostic, not a bad day. Got nothing to hang his head about. We've got funny cars at the ready line. We've got one of the Pro Stock cars that's just a couple of minutes behind. And so we've got funny cars ready. We're going to race funny cars.
I don't know. 2016, June of 2010.
This is the classic TV timeout that you always hear about. Since we are live NHRA on Fox, the rest of the world is watching there. We get to watch it play out live and in person. Gives me an opportunity to do a quick double check here. Let's see. Angel has won here before, twice. 2001 and 2002, those are both U.S. Nationals championships, and those are special no matter what. But I guarantee you, this Indy win is going to rank right up there with those two because it's been a while. And Ava, she's bringing you home a trophy. Funny cars rolling up to the ready line. Ron Capps, J.R. Todd. If you are an Indy fan, you might recall they did this. The U.S. Nationals a couple of years ago. J.R. Todd got the better of it on that day. In final round competition, head-to-head, they've raced 3 times. Ron's won 2 of the 3. But as I said, that third one just happened to be right here. The DHL Toyota has just pulled up. The Napa Dodge waits ready. Our track temperature right now, 126 degrees. So it's going to be very, very close, conditionally speaking, to what it was earlier. And the weather hadn't changed a whole lot either. Oh, we've gone up 1 whole degree and 2 water grains. Density altitude, 3,455 feet. Team Coletta pushes the DHL car right up to the fire-up line. Team Schumacher does the same with Ron Capps in the Napa car. And they are given the signal to light them up. A day that started with Tommy Johnson in the number 1 spot. Ends with Ron Capps out of the number 3 position and J.R. Todd out of number 5 running for the trophy. Drag racing is a what have you done for me lately sport. And lately, nobody's been able to beat Don Schumacher Racing. Will JR be the one to break that string? Right now stands at 6, going all the way back to Charlotte of last year. It's the Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil, and Ron Capps is driving the Napa Dodge powered by Pennzoil. If there's any extra karma from the sponsors here, I guarantee you it's being focused firmly on the left side of the racetrack. But J.R. Todd, one of his most prized possessions, is a picture that was taken here when he was about 7 years old. He was a junior dragster racer, and he got John Force's autograph. He knew that someday he'd be here on the same track, driving the same cars, and now he is. Capps left, Todd right for the trophy in funny car. Here we go. Up in smoke is J.R. Todd, and the Don Schumacher string continues. A 411 at 294. Not the number they were looking for, but they got the result they were looking for. And that is the sparklers on top of the scoreboard. The Dodge Nationals Funny Car Trophy will go home with a Dodge. And for DSR, Matt Hagan won Dallas. Matt Hagan won Vegas. Jack Beckman won Pomona at the finals. Jack Beckman won Pomona at the Winter Nationals. Tommy Johnson won Phoenix. Matt Hagan won here the first race. The second race has not been completed, but they're going to win that one too because it's Matt and Jack. And Ron Capps wins today. So once we finally decide the last race, the string will go to 7 consecutive Dodge wins for Don Schumacher in Funny Car. Unbelievable. And Top Fuel is at the ready line. Torrance and McMillan. Steve Torrance trying to make a move in the points. And he's got a golden opportunity to do so here. Terry McMillan wouldn't mind a few extra points either, but I guarantee you he's more concerned about just getting the trophy from here at Indy. He's got 2 trophies in his trophy case at home. One of them is from here at Indy. The other from Vegas. Yesterday evening, McMillan went to the number 1 spot and bumped Steve Torrance out of it. And that was really a good thing for Steve because it got he and Billy off the same side of the ladder. As it turned out, that wasn't a factor in the day, but at the moment, Steve would have been thanking Terry. At this moment, Steve just wants to put a muzzle on the alligator. For all of the craziness that happened early in the day, we end up with the numbers 1 and 2 qualifiers here in the final round. Torrance in the left lane, McMillan in the right lane for the trophy. Can the Amalie car steal the trophy from the Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil? I'll let you know in a minute. Look at this! You gotta be kidding me! A 427 beats 415 on a hole shot? What? Terry McMillan, something happened on the starting line. When it was time to go, he didn't. You could see it. Steve Torrance got out there and smoked the tires, and Terry was pedaling for all he was worth. 427, Torrance, winner. 415 for McMillan. Comes up short on a hole shot. On a day when earlier we saw a 313 light, when we've seen a couple of 1-something lights, when concentration has not exactly been at a premium, Terry McMillan's light is 234. And that cost him the race. You saw both drivers were taking a little time on the starting line, easing into stage, both of them just being careful. And whether Terry got distracted or flinched, I couldn't tell you. But here's what I can tell you. It's going to go down as a hole shot, and Steve Torrance is going to go down as the winner. Dim Capco boys pulled one off. 427 for the win. And Steve Torrance, unbelievable. Top end of the racetrack. Once again, let's piggyback NHRA on Fox and see what he has to say.
Oh, and it was absolute pandemonium down here. Steve Torrance didn't even know he won, but someone that knows he won is Ron Capps. And Ron, although it's not the U.S. Nationals, you hoist a Wally right here at the holy grail of racetracks for drivers. When you account the struggle over the last 2 Indy races, how much meaningful is that trophy?
Oh, Amanda, it's not just that. I mean, I want to melt this down and give it to all those Napa people out there that were essential workers through all what we're doing. We just want to come out and let people forget about what's going on, put on a show, have fun. But listen, this is going to go to my wife. I don't think I've ever given my wife a trophy. We've been coming here 23 years, and I've never won at this track. For a driver to say he's won at every track on the circuit, that tells you the talent that is around him. Don Schumacher, Dodge, Pennzoil, especially Napa Auto Parts. That's a huge accomplishment. I'm so proud to drive that race car. But my wife, man, we've been coming to Indy so many years. She lives this dream through me. I get emotional here, but she understands the mood swings when you don't do well and you go home, and just it's something we love to do. It's the best job in the world. But our family members that have been coming here for years to be here when I won Indy, I'm so bummed they're not here. But this is going back, and it might be a week-long party. I can guarantee you that.
Woo! Congratulations, Ron. And as we walk over to Steve Torrance, like I said, there was pandemonium up here. Steve, you were actually upset up here. Then you found out that you won. You have talked about your mental toughness heading into this weekend. How do you continue that forward?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, it's frustrating because I ain't the best at pedaling one of these things, but I try to do my job, and we go out there, and I'm about to suffocate in this deal. We go out there, and it knocked the tire off, and it kind of surprised me, you know, but I did the best we could do. Terry, he's a great guy, and I mean, I love his little boy Cameron. I go over there, but Cameron didn't want to talk to me today. He said, hey, we're racing, you can't talk. But all the guys at Capco, thank you guys for supporting us. I got my head out of my butt. We're heading home with another Wally, and it's just, it's a blessing to be able to come back out here and get to do what we enjoy doing. We love to race, everybody does, and maybe our country will overcome these obstacles, and we'll get back to normal real soon. So thankful, and we're headed back to Texas.
Tonight on his Twitter page, there will be a picture from the jet that says, we're taking the trophy back to Kilgore. I am watching the 2 Jegs cars swap lanes right down here in front of me. They're pulling the drag mat around at the top end of the racetrack, just getting any kind of debris off of it. When you see the car spinning the tires and pedaling like that, almost always end up with some of the blower belt confetti down there on the top end of the racetrack and some other stuff. They want to get all that cleaned up before we send Pro Stock. I need Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, and Comp Eliminator to the staging lanes, please. All Sportsman finals, if you have not yet run, come on down. We need you to the lanes. We got the alcohol cars pulling in right behind the Pro Stock cars. End up in a little bit of a hodgepodge order here today just because of the way things ended up on track. But we're going to be handing out trophies. We're going to be catching our breath, and we're going to be thinking about the next stop on tour. I am already thinking about it. So just waiting for the top end of the racetrack to be clear. Troy Coughlin Jr. in his first Pro Stock final round. Not his first final round by a ways. But I'm telling you, the kid's good. Well, his name's Coughlin. That ought to tell you about all you need to know. And I'm not sure if he is thrilled that his first Pro Stock final round is against Uncle Jaggy, or if he's going, I wish it was somebody other than Uncle Jaggy. As far as resumes go, Troy Coughlin has won in Super Gas, Super Comp, and Top Alcohol Dragster at the national event level. Jag has won in 7 different classes at the national event level. And I could run them off for you, but we've got more racing to do after this. By the time I get through with that, it would just be Tuesday. Green lights at the top end of the racetrack. They're getting ready to fire them up. We just watched them swap lanes down here. Troy Coughlin originally pulled up on the right side of the track. He had the lane choice. If you remember, in the last round, when Jag dropped the clutch, the car hooked right to the wall. By the time he got it back under control, he had slowed to a 673. TJ's car went straight and true, and since the vast majority of the Pro Stock drivers with lane choice were taken the race from inside, TJ did as well. Anybody besides me think that there's got to be some kind of a family side bet on this? When it comes to national event finals, Troy's got 8. Jag has 83. And how about this for a little interesting tidbit? Troy Coughlin is driving a Mustang. The last time a Mustang won a pro stock race, give me a minute, I'm only back to 1972. Well, let's just put it like this. It's been a while. It's still been a while. I'm still looking. I guarantee you Richard Freeman has given them both the best car he had and said, you guys figure it out. The last time a Mustang won in pro stock was right here in 1977. I don't have to tell you who was driving, do I? Wrong. It was Dino Don. They're in. Oh, and Troy Coughlin squares the tire. Jag Coughlin's going to win another one. He will spin from now until his next final round wondering what would have happened if he'd have stayed in that lane. Jag Coughlin goes 668, 206 miles an hour, and picks up win number 84. Troy goes 1862, squaring the tire, and coasting down there at 43 miles an hour. He'll have to wait another day for his first pro stock win. But judging by the way he was driving and his car was running, he won't have to wait long. You can see our sportsman parade over there on the return road, doing a little sticker check, making sure everybody gets paid for what they need to get paid for. But Jag Coughlin, he came in the point leader, and he'll leave the point leader by a wider margin. After going from the number 3 spot to the winner's circle, 6.68, 206 miles an hour. Alcohol funny car final, fired up now. And I'll tell you this, I might want to drive an alcohol funny car sometime. I want to drive that 57 Chevy right now. Richie Crampton street car. They actually ran that thing in drag week with the same motor that they've got in the funny car. A water jacketed version, but still. Right now it's got a twin turbo LS in it. That thing will run down this quarter mile in the 8-second zone. Johnny Lindbergh making a cameo appearance, just out shaking the car down so that his buddy who owns the wagon over there can drive it when we come back for the U.S. Nationals. And DJ Cox, the DXI construction team out of Maryland, out of the number 3 qualifying spot, and they've had a pretty fair day as well. It's an 8-car field. Qualifying for this was unbelievable. They've got some of the best cars in the country here. Johnny Lindbergh qualified number 1, but he hasn't exactly looked like all-conquering. Not like the days when he was winning the championships. Land Meeko's one of his sponsors, Cascade Truck Body. Brian Howe's company. He, of course, has been working with Brian when he can't find something else to do, like drive Bob Tasca's funny car or whatever. DJ works in the family construction business out in Maryland. He's a former region champ. National event winner in its own right. This isn't for a national trophy, this is for a regional trophy. But it's still going to be a special one. Because if you win at Indy, it's special no matter what it is. Lindbergh left, DJ Cox right. Alcohol funny car, final round. DJ with a big move with the clutch pedal, but his car's dancing around through the middle, and Johnny Lindbergh's going to drive by 553, 267 miles an hour for the win. DJ goes 568 at 245 miles an hour. DJ dropped the hammer at 029. Johnny Lindbergh's reaction time was 098. And I'm thinking 700, that might be, but it wasn't enough. Lindbergh, 553, 267 miles an hour, and Johnny Lindbergh takes the win, making a cameo appearance here. And the team will head down to get him. And hey, Richie Crampton. Richie, no pressure. The car's perfect. Just saying. He'll be driving it when we come back here for the Denso U.S. Nationals. And I really want to drive that wagon. Johnny Lindbergh still wearing his head contractor's engineer's fire suit. He and Richie Crampton teamed up with that car right there. They put a water-jacketed Noonan blown alcohol Hemi in it and drove it on drag week. It was crazy. But then, so are they. So Johnny Lindbergh picks up another win. And we've got Alcohol Dragster at the ready line. We've got one stopped down on the racetrack. You see all the red lights flashing down at the other end. It'll be a moment while they get cleared off, and then we'll get right back into it. Rachel and Julie, the two Randy Meyer cars, getting ready to battle it out here for the trophy. Rachel, who qualified number one, and I'm telling you, absolutely looked like she was ready to take on anybody, no matter what. And now she's in the final round running another car that has been prepared by her dad. It should be a fun one. Still got a ton of red lights on the top end of the racetrack. Let's let Jim have it for a minute, and as soon as they clear off down there, we'll fire up this pair. And we will wrap up this Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil, Division 3 edition.
When you need a break from a hard day's work, grab an ice-cold Mellow Yellow. Made with a refreshing blend of lemon, lime, and orange flavors, Mellow Yellow is the smooth, original citrus that drives you. Work hard, swig easy. Mellow Yellow.
Are you passionate about motorsports?
I told Ford we would win and run for the championship. That race car with this group of guys can do just that.
Are you looking for a career in motorsports? Then NHRA Launch Motorsports Careers is what you've been looking for. Find the job you've been dreaming of today with the help of the NHRA. Go to nhra.com/launch today and get on board.
I'm dead thirsty. You didn't forget the cooler, did you, bro?
MagnaCool, the world's only patented magnetic cooler. Never spill your cooler again. These 3-day ice coolers stick to metal, aluminum, and fiberglass.
Where did you put that cooler, Brad?
They come in assorted colors and also in a 24-can hard case. To order yours, go to magnacool.com.
The most powerful tool in your toolbox is the Summit Racing app. Get quick, easy access to Summit Racing 24/7. The Summit Racing mobile app offers one-touch shopping, so you get the parts you need fast. Build your shopping list, research parts, check your order status, and connect with us on social media, on your couch, in your garage, or at the track. Summit Racing's mobile app, available now for your Android or Apple device. The most powerful tool in your toolbox.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine.
Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Racing Electronics wants to bring you closer than ever to the excitement of the NHRA. With Switch, our newest mini scanner, you'll get live audio from the track PA and race control at any major NHRA event. Learn more and reserve your rental today at racingelectronics.com.
All right, that parking lot at the top end of the racetrack is cleared off, and we're ready to fire up the final two. Rachel left and Julie right. Randy Meyer Racing taking on itself. The signal from one side to the other as they turn off the alcohol tank, start pumping in nitro. Julie Natas from Europe now making her home over here where she is chasing the racing dream and got a pretty good horse to ride right here. And Rachel, who along with her sister Megan, who just happens to be the champ, NTK sponsored car, they had a large presence here at the racetrack this weekend. A lot of the execs out as them Capco boys come back up from the far end of the racetrack with another trophy to take home. See the high five for Christopher Dodd. That's a Texas guy. Steve and his dad race against Christopher in Super Comp. By the way, did you see that Billy Torrance was racing Super Comp in Kansas? I'm not making this up. They just love coming out to compete, no matter what they're putting in the tank. Meanwhile, back on the starting line, Rachel on the left side, Julie on the right side. Rachel has absolutely looked like her car has been unstoppable all weekend. But she hadn't had to race her team car yet this weekend. For the trophy, an alcohol dragster. .527, 283 miles an hour, and Rachel just keeps on keeping on. Julie goes 534 at 265. A great side-by-side run, as you expect for those two cars, but something about Rachel's car. Man, if they got that thing running happy at the other end. 280 miles an hour is still a relatively rare thing with an injected nitro car. Unless you're Rachel Meyer, then it's like, 283, that's okay. Rachel, whether you know it or not, the fastest woman to ever drive in a fuel car. Not the fastest person. That's still Don Sanino. He's got the record. But the fastest woman. You know who the second fastest woman is? Her sister, Megan. Think Rachel's pointed that out to her yet? Since she's done it this weekend? I'm guessing Megan probably heard. Shuffle out there with the two tractors. We got our Mountain Motor Pro Stockers sitting at the ready line. And before they fire them up, I just want to say thank you to the Mountain Motor Racers. It's been kind of a strange year. I know we were supposed to see you a couple of times in a couple of different places, and I know that the way this all came together wasn't exactly on anybody's schedule, but we appreciate you guys making the adjustment. We appreciate you guys coming out here and being part of the show. Those 800 cubic inch monsters are just a whole lot of fun to watch, and thank you guys for coming out here and being a part of the NHRA Dodge Nationals. We really appreciate the effort it took to be here. Well, I was talking about the last time a Mustang won Pro Stock. We're going to have a Mustang win Mountain Motor Pro Stock, which Isn't exactly the same thing, but still. Anytime you can work in Dino Don in 1977 into a conversation, that's not a bad thing. Elijah Morton in the left side. Johnny Pluchino in the right side with a couple of big old bad old Mustangs. The number 3 and 4 qualifiers yesterday. That was yesterday. Fire them up today, and we'll see who gets to go home with the trophy. I see little Hector hanging out down there again. Maybe little Hector's just looking for anything that's fast. He was down there hanging out with the Nitro Harley guys with Ricky House. Now he's down there hanging out with, oh, it's the New York guys. Why didn't I think of that? Because, of course, Ricky House, he's from Humboldt, New York, Texas. Okay, I still haven't figured it out. I thought I was onto something there for a minute. The difference between these two from a performance standpoint when they were here an hour and a half ago was 7 thousandths of a second. The difference in the weather on the racetrack between then and now, not much. If both cars make the same run that they made last time, this will be a simple matter of who lets the clutch out first. Elijah Morton, the blue car on the left side. Johnny Pluchino, the orange car, over here. Morton is in the construction business. Johnny, who's a claims supervisor. And both of them, big-time mountain motor players. I remember the first time we invited the mountain motor cars to come over and race with us, and they were thrilled to be a part of the NHRA. And it's still pretty special when you take home one of our trophies. Well, either Elijah or Johnny's going to do that here. About 6.3 seconds after the tree flashes green. Pluchino dives right in. He's staged. He's ready. Here's Elijah. Here's the tree. Slight advantage to the orange car. Down the racetrack. What a race. Out the finish line. 6.374 beats 6.366 on a little baby hole shot. At the finish line, the margin is 6 thousandths of a second. Johnny is 0.38. Elijah is 0.52. And then going down the racetrack, Elijah runs 6.366. Johnny runs 6.374. They're both at 221 miles an hour, and the margin at the stripe, 6 thousandths of a second. A heck of a show put on by some really cool cars and some really good guys out here that take it down to a final round decided by inches. And the trophy goes back to Oakdale, New York, and Johnny Pluchino. Our Top Fuel Harley final. Thanks to the folks at Mickey Thompson Tires. And kind of like the Top Fuel final, it's the 1 and 2 qualifier. Ty Tharp over here on the right side. Randall Anderson on the left. The last time we were here, Randall got the trophy. Seems like just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, that's right. It was just a couple of weeks ago. Both these bikes were 6.3 something. Heck of an idea. Let's run Nitro Harley against Mountain Motor Pro Stock. What, I'm the only one that thinks that's a good idea? Oh, no! Tharp goes red. They both run 6.32. Ty Tharp goes red by 0.46. Randall wins it 6.324, 222. Ty goes 6.320 at 226. But he was 0.46 on the wrong side of the tree. The red light's on. The trophy goes to Louisiana. And Randall Anders picks up another one here at Indy. And here comes Top Dragster. Now, there has been some crazy stuff that has happened here. And because the Oakley Motorsports Top Dragster guys didn't want to be left out, they had a little craziness of their own. Aaron Stanfield on the left side. Nothing crazy about that. Qualified number 7. He's a good kid. He's a good driver. He's got a good race car. He's in the final. Al Peevler's over here on the right side. In qualifying, Peevler and his son both ran too quick on the first session. They both came back on the second session. Just made like nice, easy runs to put yourself on the ladder, right? We know what we're going to dial. We know what we're going to do. We're going to be fine. Just need to get on the ladder. They put themselves on the ladder where they had to race each other round number 1. Well, that plan didn't go very well. Well, they raced in round 1 and Al won. The car they were supposed to race in round number 2 broke. Actually, both cars that would have been the pair in round 1 that they were supposed to run broke. So, Al has a bye run in round number 2 because his opponent broke and couldn't show up. In round number 3, there was a bye on the ladder. So he had a bye run. And took it. In the last round, he beat Phil Oakley, the class sponsor. So this is really only the second race that Al Peevler's had to run this weekend. Stanfield had a solo last time, went 6:13 on the test run, dialed 6:14 here. They are off and away. That's a nitrous car on the left side. It's a blower car on the right side. That's a trophy going back with Stanfield. That's another trophy going to Louisiana. Nitro Harley and Top Dragster, 6:15, 223 miles an hour. Al Peevler predicted he was going to run 6.13, and he ran 6.133. He was 0.26 on the tree. Aaron Stanfield was 0.04, takes 12th thou, and gets the whole shot win, one above the dial, at 223 miles an hour. So Aaron Stanfield picks up another trophy for his collection. That's number 7. Way to go, kid. 19 more and you'll tie your dad. I'm trying to be encouraging. Aren't you supposed to encourage kids? We're about to find out who Ricky Smith likes best. Because he owns them both. Bo Butner on the left side. Trying to keep a trophy in Indiana, although barely in Indiana. Because from his place in Floyd's Knobs, if you got a good driver, you can hit a golf ball into Kentucky. Actually, as high as he is up on the hill, you don't really need a good driver. You can probably do a sand wedge, but anyway. And Jonathan Gray, he'd like to take the thing back to New Mexico. Now, interestingly enough, that's Ricky over here in the right lane, the CPM Aviation car. If Pat Musey was here, I'd say we're going to find out who Pat likes best, but I don't think Pat's here this weekend, is he? I haven't seen him, and he usually kind of stands out. Hey, what do you like better, Johnny Lindbergh's race car or tow vehicle? Just cut the strap and leave the funny car behind. I want the 57. For the trophy in Pro Modified. The first race of the season did not get completed. That'll happen in a couple of weeks. So it's the second race of the season, but we're about to give away the first trophy of the season, if that makes sense. Bo qualified 10. Jonathan qualified 9. 100th apart. They have been, from a performance standpoint, pretty close throughout the day. But if you remember the last round, Jonathan's car shut off early down there, and I speculated that they might have heard it. Well, you notice they came up after the rest of the pros and after the alcohol car, so I'm speculating that there was some work going on down there to get Jonathan's car back together. They're pre-staged. I don't expect any games here because they're both going back to the same trailer after this is over with. 400th advantage. Jonathan Gray on the starting line. Down the racetrack they go, and he's got the better car as well. 585, 249 miles an hour. Bo Butner goes 589 at 248 miles an hour. Gray was 021. That's moving first. He was also 4 hun quicker down the racetrack. That's moving best. And Jonathan Gray gets the win at 585, 249 miles an hour. Here comes Comp. Brian Brow and David Billingsley. Those of you with a sharp ear might have noticed that's a V6. Those of you with a sharp ear might have noticed so is that. Billingsley was the number 1 qualifier, but he has chewed up a little index along the way. Brian Brow has nicked himself a hundo here or there also. That's the chess match that is Comp. Winning the race without taking away your advantage. 8:56, the index for Billingsley. That Camaro will have the front end up and be out about the Christmas tree by the time Brian Brow moves with the dragster. They have fairly close to the same power plant, but obviously very different cars, hence the handicap. Both drivers off on the green light. Now Billingsley's trying to hold on. My 6 are better than your 6. Down to the finish line. Watch your 6. There it is by .066. Perfect. 002 reaction time for Brian Brow. 7:21 for the win. For Brow, that is regional event number 15 on his resume. Billingsley was 015 on the tree. That's not too shabby. He goes 809 on the racetrack at 166 miles an hour. Could not hold off that 183 mile an hour missile of Brian and Deborah Brow. They add another one to the trophy case. And oh, by the way, that trophy stays right here in Indiana. Our final 2 cars of the event. From a competition standpoint, it's going to be Lester Johnson. And it's going to be Billy Thoman. Oakley Motorsports, Top Sportsman, presented by Diamond Pistons, here on the Division III Trail. And Lester Johnson, the FTI Bel Air with a turbocharged Hemi, against Billy Thoman with a 762-inch monster motor under the hood of his 63 Corvette. The dial, 1600s head start, goes to the Corvette. And then the turbos will be charging. Lester's car is a little lazy on the first part of the racetrack, but man, does it hustle down there. Here we go. Oh, and a red light start for Billy Thoman. Billy's going to be sick when he sees the time slip because he was 016 red. Lester Johnson wanted to go red. Billy wouldn't let him. Hey, Johnny, nice job. Nice car. Heck of a show your whole class put on this week. Thank you guys for coming out to join us. Awesome having the Mountain Motors here on property. 10:44 for the win for Lester Johnson. But the real math comes down to this. Billy Thoman's reaction time was -16. Lester's reaction time -002. If Billy had been green, Lester was going to be red. But Billy was red first, and Lester goes home with the trophy. Hey, that's going to wrap it up. We'll be back in a few weeks for the U.S. Nationals. Denso Sparkplugs U.S. Nationals. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the next stop on tour as well. Keep your eyes on NHRA.com for all the news, all the notes, and all the things that are fit to print. And we'll keep you up to date as we make our way through this 2020 campaign, adjustments, and all. It has been a wild day of eliminations. It has been a fun weekend of competition from the Lucas Oil Series. from the Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley Series, from the Liberty Gears Mountain Motor Pro Mod Series, from the E3 Spark Plugs Pro Modified Series. I said Mountain Motor Pro Mod, didn't I? Mountain Motor Pro. You get the idea. From the Mellow Yellow Series, from the Lucas Series, and from everything else. Even the bracket racers that got to come out here and finish up. On behalf of Casey and all of his staff here at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, thank you for coming out to join us. Thank you for obeying the rules. So Hendricks County let us keep coming to do this. For everybody here at Lucas Oil Raceway, our friends at Dodge and Pennzoil who sponsored the weekend, and everyone at NHRA. For Warren Evans, who shared time on the microphone up here with me here today, thank you. Please be safe. Stop the spread. Come back and see us again very soon. I'm Alan Reinhart. Enjoy your afternoon, and we will see you at the next one.